Get in pole position for cheaper van insurance. With mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. See what you could save and compare your van insurance today with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lucas Volvo. Here, wherever and whenever you need them. Visit them in store or online. The fastest goals. The experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
If the 5 remaining games in the Scottish Premiership have even half the drama that Motherwell Celtic had in the last 8 minutes, then we will be in for a treat. It was heading all the way, it seemed, for a boring 0-0 draw, which would have suited Motherwell down to the ground and put a bit more criticism Brendan Rodgers' way. However, Luis Palma opened his Celtic account. Celtic thought they had won it. Motherwell had other ideas. Blair Spittle equalised way beyond the 90 minutes. Motherwell thought they had stolen a point, and Matt O'Reilly in the 97th minute made it Motherwell 1, Celtic 2. An incredible end to the game at Fir Park, which has knock-on effects at Ibrox. Let's continue the build-up because we're running out of time already. Andrew McLean.
Yeah, well, I heard Hugh there. He was saying that Ibrox would have been rocking when Motherwell scored and then not so much when they didn't score. Well, Ibrox is still pretty empty at the moment with 20 odd minutes to go. It will fill up. I don't know whether it is to be a sellout or not, but of course these are the fixtures that the Rangers fans and Aberdeen's fans look out for. But certainly the Rangers fans that will have been travelling in will feel a bit deflated because they will have saw that door creak open at the fact that Motherwell had scored so late on, but Celtic doing what Celtic do so often and go right to the end and score that late goal. But attention's now turned to this game, and it certainly is a crowd that has been disgruntled of late here at Ibrox. They're not seeing what they want from this Rangers side, and they'll be hoping that a win over Aberdeen today could change that. I'll give you the team news. It's one change for Rangers. Kamar Roof drops out of the starting lineup, and in comes Cyril Dessers. So it's Jack Butland in goal for them today. The back four: James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Ben Davies and Ridvan Yilmaz. The midfield three: Jose Cifuentes, John Lundstrom and Ryan Jack. Sam Lammers is up top with Cyril Dessers and Abdallah Sima. The substitutes: McCrory, Suter, Sterling, Wright, Balogun, Barisic, Rice, Lovelace and McKinnon. For Aberdeen, 3 changes from the team that beat Ross County during the week. Barron, Hayes and Duke all drop out of that starting lineup. In come Mackenzie, Clarkson and Polvara. So Kel Roos in goal for them. The back three: Stefan Gartenman, Slobodan Rubizic and Richard Jensen. Nicky Devlin, the right wing back, Jack McKenzie, the left wing back. The midfield three: Graham Shinney, Leighton Clarkson and Dante Polvara. Jamie McGrath will be given that free role in behind Bojan Majowski. The substitutes: doing Barron, Duke, Gay, Hayes, Sockler, Duncan, McDonald and Milne. The referee here at Ibrox, Stephen McLean. The VAR is Greg Aitken.
Well, that is the reality of it, but maybe it's the St Mirren fans who are keeping an eye on result at Fir Park, because they're the ones that are closest at the moment. We've already given you team news from that game at Rugby Park. Where have we not been yet? Hibs Dundee, Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, looking forward to this one, Gordon. I think Hibs fans will be as well. They'll be here in big numbers as they have been for a few years. There was nearly 17,000 here last week for the game against St Johnstone, which is amazing given the rocky start to the season that the club has had. And I think they're all coming to see if this mini revival under new manager Nick Montgomery will continue. 4 points in 2 league games, of course. Good result during the week, and they find themselves in the Viaplay Cup semi-final. So a real sense of optimism and excitement around Easter Road. 5th in the table despite that rocky start, same points as Hearts, so just a point ahead of Dundee, today's opponents. And I've seen Dundee play, decent team, good manager and Tony Docherty. He's assembled a really good squad, made lots of signings, but he's got a core of good professionals: Joe Shaughnessy, Jordan McGee, Cammy Kerr, young players on loan from England, and then Luke McCowan changed him from a wide player into an attacking midfielder, and he's been the key creative player for Dundee. But Dundee, they also bring a decent support, but they haven't won here Easter Road for 22 years. Team news: 3 changes for Hibernian. Out go Bushiri, Obita and Doige, and he's gone for experience, and a lot of experience coming in: Hanlon, Stevenson and Lafondra. It's a 4-4-2 formation. David Marshall in goals, Lewis Miller, Will Fish, Paul Hannon and Lewis Stevenson across the back. Martin Boyle, James Jeggo, Joe Newell and Ellie Ewan in midfield. 2 strikers: Adam Lafondra and Dylan Venta. The subs for Hibernian: Max Boric, Dylan Levitt, Jonathan Obita, Christian Doidge, Alan Delafiere, Jai Tavares, Josh Campbell, Rocky Bashiri and young Rory Whittaker. 4 changes for Dundee. They drew 2-2 with Kilmarnock last week, but Josh Mulligan was sent off, so he's suspended, and Jordan McGee and Scott Tiffany were injured, so they're out, and also Zach Robinson drops to the bench. In come Kerr, Rudden, Cameron and Portales. It's a 3-5-2 formation for Dundee. They've got Trevor Carson in goals, back 3, Cammy Kerr, Joe Shaughnessy and Ricky Lamy. 5 across the middle, Antonio Portales, Lyle Cameron, Malachi Boateng, Luke McCowan and Owen Beck, and the 2 strikers Amadou Bakayako and Zach Rudden. The subs for Dundee: Adam Ledsons, Diego Pineda, Lee Ashcroft, Zach Robinson, Finlay Robertson, Ryan Howley, Aaron Donnelly, Mohamed Silla and Marcel Lewis. And the referee today is John Beaton, and VAR is Nick Walsh.
What about St Johnstone Livy, David Friel?
Yeah, Gordon, a big game for both teams. I think it's fair to say St Johnstone and Steve McLean are under the most pressure here today. The St Johnstone manager isn't shying away from that. He's described it as massive, and you look at the stats, no wonder his side have yet to win a league match. They've actually only got 2 points and 2 goals to show from their 6 fixtures so far. They're bottom of the league. Their form's relegation material, and they really need to start winning games and fast. Fans are coming here today expecting 3 points. I think most will feel this could be their best chance against a tired looking Livingston team. David Martindale's side, they're fit, but they've had a tough week, losing 3-0 to Celtic last weekend, then 4-0 to Rangers in midweek in the Viaplay Cup. They're coming here tired limbs. They started the day in 10th. They're also looking for a much needed win, but I think if St Johnstone are going to get a win at some point, it could be today. Give you the team: St Johnstone, Dimitar Mitov in goals, Jay Wright, Liam Gordon, Andy Considine, Luke Robinson at the back, Sven Sprangler, Dan Phillips, Dara Costello, Max Kuchereri and Graham Carey in behind Luke Jeffcott. Subs for St Johnstone are Richards, Gallagher, May, Franchik, McPherson, Olafunwa, McClelland, Smith and Turner Cook. As for Livy, Shamal George in goals, Jamie Brandon, Ayo Obalai, Tom Parks and James Penrice at the back, Andrew Shinney, Jason Holt, Sean Kelly in midfield, with Mohsen Garrett and Joel Nibley in behind Bruce Anderson. Subs for Livy are Hamilton, Pittman, Stephen Kelly, Mackay, Bradley, DeLucas, Lloyd, Guthrie and Lawwell. The referee at McDermott Park is Graham Granger, and the VAR is Andrew Dallas.
We're up against it time-wise. We went on and on at Fir Park, and the late drama went the way of Celtic. Plenty more reaction and build up to the 3 o'clock games, Nick. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
What an afternoon it has been. Breathless stuff at the end at Fir Park. Celtic winning 2-1. That does not even come close to telling the full story. Plenty more reaction throughout the afternoon. What does it mean for those closest to the top of the table? Rangers fans heading to Ibrox thought they had an opportunity. Now they don't, and they need to make sure they can try and close that gap. Aberdeen want to spoil that. St Mirren, of course, up there as well at the moment. We've still to bring you team news from Ross County Hearts. Dave Galloway.
Thanks, Gordon. Yes, a close one in prospects. 7th v 6th, the sides level on points. Never seems to be much between them here, but Ross County haven't beaten Hearts at this stadium for 10 years. County make 4 changes. Ben Purrington, Alex Samuel, Kyle Turner and Jordan White are in. Out drop George Harmon, Victor Laturi, Simon Murray and Josh Sims. So it's Ross Laidlaw in goals, a back 3 of Will Nightingale, Jack Baldwin and Ryan Leake. Midfield, James Brown, Connor Randall, Kyle Turner and Ben Purrington. Up top, Jordan White, supported by Alex Samuel and Jan Danda. The subs: Monroe, Allardyce, Laturi, Murray, Harmon, Henderson, High, Brophy and Smith. A couple of changes for Hearts. Aidan Denham and Odell of Fire are in for Cammy Devlin and Alan Forrest. So it's Xander Clark in goals. It looks like a back 3. Toby Sibic, Frankie Kent and Kai Rolls. Midfield, Odell of Fire, Aidan Denham, Callum Neuenhoff and Stephen Kingsley, with George Grant playing off Kenneth Vargas and Lawrence Shankland. In attack, the subs for the Jam Tarts: McGovern, Haring, Beningame, Boyce, Halliday, Forrest, Tate, Kirk and Lowry. Your match referee here at the Global Energy Stadium is David Dickinson, and on VAR duties, Gavin Duncan.
Well, that's you up to speed on team news for the 3 o'clock games. An extremely busy afternoon because of that early game, and it ran on and there was late drama. So we'll hear from Brendan Rodgers and Stuart Kettlewell and the likes as the afternoon progresses. Let's try and give a bit more to the 3 o'clock games though. Roger, Hannah, we said Ibrox would be keeping an eye on the Celtic result. Maybe the St Mirren fans were as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they were coming down, listening to the show, coming down the 77. I'll steal some of Daz's roadmap of Scotland jokes. They've started brilliantly. They've started absolutely terrifically. The top 6 finish last season, Gordon, was their best since the mid 1980s. I don't think we really expected them to kick on from that the way they have, but that defeat to Hibs in the Cup in midweek was their first in 10 games. There is a solidity about the team. There is a really deep squad they've got now. You look at this bench this afternoon, they've got strength in all areas. He's made 3 changes, Stephen Robinson, one at the back, one in midfield, one up top, and Charles Dunn, Keanu Bacchus, Conor McMenamin all coming in, and it looks as if it's strengthening the team that lost 4-2 to Hibs in midweek. Richard Taylor, Caelan Boyd-Muntz and Olusanya all dropping to the bench this afternoon. But it's interesting, the rain has just come on here at Kilmarnock, and I think that could be a good thing for the spectacle of this game, because when this pitch at Kilmarnock is dry and sticky, very seldom see a real festival of football. But we're hoping to see goals this afternoon. I think the last 4 games here have all been drawn between the teams. That's included 2 3-3 draws, so I would certainly take one of those this afternoon, Gordon.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. What about at Easter Road, Fraser? The Hibs fans, the early stages, they think they're onto something with Nick Montgomery, but I suppose need to try and put a run together in the league, especially in a fixture like this, with no disrespect to Dundee, but it would go down as one Hibs fan certainly would look to win. Yeah,
it's a team coming up, isn't it? Dundee been up and down like a yo-yo club over the last few years, but it's a new Dundee team under Tony Docherty, and they look decent. But you're right, I think Hibs supporters will want to keep the feel-good factor going, keep the momentum going. But the next 3 fixtures as well, Gordon, are absolutely crucial as well. They're away at Tynecastle, away at Ibrox, and at home to Celtic here, so they really need to, I think, to win this one, because you could easily lose all 3 of those games. But Nick Montgomery's actually kept it fairly simple. He's put his own stamp on the team. He left Hanlon and Stevenson out, although they're both back today, both stalwarts. He's also looked at youth, so he's gone from one extreme to another. Young Rory Whittaker's been in. He's also playing an attacking formation. It's 4-4-2. The 2 wide players are Ellie Ewan and Martin Boyle, who have played up front together for Hibernian. He's got Lafondra and Ventit as well. He's got Doidge on the bench. I mean, you just look at that squad, you think, why were they struggling at the start of the season? The change of manager certainly worked. I think Lee Johnson wasn't getting the best out of the players. I don't think they bought into him at all. But Nick Montgomery's come in, and you hear good things about the way he goes about his business, and he's reinvigorated everything around Easter Road. But as you say, they have to keep the momentum going today. I think 3 points are absolutely crucial against Dundee.
I mean, David Friel, St Johnstone famously a couple of years ago started a season terribly and did fight back, but at what point are we going to see signs of life this campaign?
I think the fans would like to see it today, Gordon, to be perfectly honest with you. As I spoke earlier on just about the stats, and they're not scoring goals, they're not keeping them out. It's not a good mix, and Stephen McLean made so many changes in terms of his summer signings. He's tried everything, he keeps making changes. 4 changes again today. He's trying Luke Jeffcott up front, Stevie May's on the bench. He seems to be trying everything just in a bid to inject some life into his team. I thought after watching them against Celtic that St Johnstone maybe kick on. It's not really happened. Obviously scrambled a draw against Dundee, then lost to Rangers, lost to Hibs. I think this is a game the players really need to deliver for him. Livingston, as I said, are coming here very tired of that tough week. So if St Johnstone are going to kickstart the season, this is the perfect chance for them. And I think Steve McLean's going to learn a lot about his players today, because the pressure is on them, the expectation is on them. It's a decent crowd now coming into the stadium. I think St Johnstone fans expect 3 points today. 5
big games in the Scottish Premiership, just around 6 minutes away. The first one was incredible. The drama certainly at the end. The first 87 minutes or so we can probably forget about, but lots to look back on. And the 3 o'clock games are next. We go back to Ibrox after these.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Kick-off in the 3 o'clock games fast approaching. The early game finished. Motherwell 1, Celtic 2 in dramatic fashion. Let's build up to kick-off at Ibrox with Andrew McLean.
Yeah, the teams are now on the pitch, joined by members of the Armed Forces, because it is Armed Forces Day here at Ibrox as well. It hasn't been a happy time of it, really, has it, for Rangers and their fans? Plenty of injury problems to boot as well, but Michael Beale will point to the fact that Rangers have won their last 4 without conceding a goal, but that isn't enough for this crowd. They want to see this team playing good football, blowing the opposition away, and it's not really happened for them so far this campaign, although they did get that 4-0 win during the week against Livingston. But this is one of the fixtures that the fans look out for. They love getting the better of each other. Aberdeen maybe hitting some form at the right time, though. Hadn't looked convincing at all, had they, in the early stages of the campaign. There was a bit of pressure really building on Barry Robson, despite his very positive start to things last season when he first came in. They still only have one league win to their name this campaign, but you look back about a week and a half, they had that performance against Frankfurt. Yes, they lost the game, but they looked a lot better in that game, and then back-to-back wins against Ross County, one of those in the league, one of those in the League Cup, and things are certainly looking up for Barry Robson and his team now. But this is a game that both teams could really do with a win at Ibrox in front of a crowd that have been restless, to say the least, over the last couple of months, but they'll settle for nothing less than 3 points today. The ball has just been delivered to referee Stephen McLean at the moment. I'll give you a recap of the starting lineup. Jack Butland in goal for Rangers today. The back 4, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Ben Davies and Ridvan Yilmaz. The midfield 3, Jose Cifuentes, John Lundstrom and Ryan Jack. It's Sam Lammers supporting Abdallah Sima and Cyril Dessers up top. For Aberdeen, Kel Roos in goal. The back 3, Stefan Gartenman, Slobodan Rubezic and Richard Jensen. Nicky Devlin, Jack McKenzie are the wing backs, Graham Shinney, Leighton Clarkson and Dante Polvara, the 3 in midfield. Jamie McGrath on his birthday, a bit of a free roll in behind Bojan Mijovski. The referee, as I said, for this one, Stephen McLean, who's just looking at his watch at the moment. The VAR is Greg Aitken, and we are underway here at Ibrox.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy, putting patients at the heart of everything they do. Visit them today.
And off we go. Hugh Keevins in amongst. I mean, your in-game predictions about Celtic not scoring were poor, but we'll skip over that because you did predict that Celtic would win 2-1.
Yeah.
It took us a weird and wonderful road to get there in the end, but that is indeed what happened. So what is your ACCA looking like this afternoon on the 3 o'clock games?
Although the fatalists will say, oh, the way Celtic won that game, I bet you Rangers drop points today. I don't think they will. I'm taking Rangers to beat Aberdeen, St Mirren to win at Kilmarnock, Hibs to beat Dundee, a draw in Perth, and Hearts will win against Ross County in Dingwall.
I'll go Rangers win, Hibs win, Ross County win, a draw in Perth and a draw at Rugby Park.
Also in form with a 2-1 prediction. Rangers to win, Kilmarnock St Mirren draw, Hibs to win, St Johnstone to win.
Oh, it's a big show.
And Hearts.
Do you know, normally I stand here on a Saturday and I wonder why I got my prediction wrong. Today I'm standing here wondering why I got my prediction right.
How you got it right, exactly.
Yeah,
it
because
didn't look likely.
I don't know whether Celtic fluked it today or whether it's a tribute to resilience. I have never known so much belated excitement out of a game that was so bad, so dull, so mundane, and the finish is straight out of some Hollywood movie.
It was quite something, Gordon DL.
Yeah, if you're in the Motherwell camp, the joy you must have felt for a minute and a half, 2 minutes. You think you've sneaked a point, you went behind, you're over the moon, you're thinking that'll do lovely. You switch off for just seconds, Gordon. We keep going back to it. The one thing about O'Reilly this season, if last year wasn't great influence in the game, probably would have come off the pitch and that would have been it. He's added goals now and he's become such a threat. He times that run to perfection. Yes, you can pick the bones out of the Motherwell lad dropping the runner, and when he gets into that position, still a difficult finish, especially under the pressure. It's clinical. It's brilliant.
In keeping with the utterly wacky nature of the game and the way it finished, Matt O'Reilly had spent the whole day not being a threat and then scores the winning goal in the dying seconds.
Yeah,
but that's the difference now. That's the difference in his game. That's why that new contract, and what a way to celebrate it. If he, look, Mark said it earlier, there was reports going about that. I think it was Leeds 10 million, whatever it may be.
Yep.
Right now, he adds goals to that ability that he's got in the middle of the park. He's going to be worth a lot more money in the coming years.
He's got 5 already this season. He got 4 in the entirety of last season, including, in fact, that was in 52 games. It took him until February to get up and running last season. So, I mean, there is still time. I guess there is a possibility he slows down spectacularly, Mark. But it's been a brilliant start in front of goal for him.
He doesn't look like he's going to slow down anytime soon, because I think Brendan Rodgers has added to his game. He's gave him that target of a goal scoring midfielder, but he's putting him into positions that allow him the chances. Now, if we go back to the St Johnstone game at home, where I think was there 3 chances that fell to Matt O'Reilly, and you know, he should have done better with one of them, but he's still in those positions, and you find him there today. But that's what separates Celtic from the rest. When something goes against them, the quality they have in their team individually to pick those moments out. Greg Taylor's cross has to be on the money, and O'Reilly's finish has to be there when they know they're under pressure. That's the difference.
Chance for Dessers early on. He could be doing with a goal early on to settle some of the criticism down. I think it did sit up a bit high for him. Bit of an awkward one. A chance, but nothing more than that. And it is still goalless, obviously.
But, as you rightly say, if ever a player could do with a goal, a proper one, not something that hits off you when you don't know it's hit off you and gone in, or a penalty, it's Cyril Dessers.
Yeah, I think a goal would give the lad so much confidence, Hugh. I think even a top performance, a few assists, or building the play up, holding the ball in, bringing midfield players into the play, I would take that. I've not seen him offer anything. This is a big afternoon for him, because I'm sure a lot of Rangers fans going along there are probably the same as me, thinking you need to start showing us the honeymoon period's finished.
Yeah, to use the expression step up to the plate, it applies to so many of them today, because there's nothing that Michael Beale can do about the injuries. They have come along and they have been substantial, but those who are left simply have to do a job. And the job that, as we said earlier on, they have been brought in to do and paid good money to do.
Yeah, and there's not loads in reserve today for Rangers, of course, given all those midfield and attacking injuries. So we will see Dundee United, Mark, your old team, trailing in the first minute. Thompson opening the scoring for Queen's Park very early on.
The shooting up the hill, that's what you got to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what we don't know.
If you're going to lose a goal up at Darnadice, we'll lose it early up the hill.
Lose it, yeah, they'll switch it around.
You
the
think
second
so?
half.
I think
without doubt. There's goals in that game.
Queen's Park have not been in great form, but I think that'll be a difficult game, and now Queen's Park have got a little bit of confidence. 1 up.
Lammers, another of the new signings in an attacking sense that maybe could do with getting something positive today. He has had a shot from outside the box. It was left footed low, but it was always really moving away from goal. But certainly Rangers on the front foot early on. I don't think Aberdeen have actually been in Rangers half at all, and we're 6 minutes into the game. Are you surprised that no Duke today for Aberdeen?
Yeah, I am. In the 4-0 win over Ross County at Pittodrie, he and Miofsky looked the part. They then go to Dingwall for the Viaplay Cup, and once again they look the part. So I'd have gone with them, put Rangers under a bit of pressure, but not to be in Rangers half of the field 6 or 7 minutes into the game.
I'm not surprised, Hugh, and unless there's an injury, and I'm going to give Barry Robson.
He's on the bench.
Right, but it could be a wee tweak or something. I am astonished at that.
Are you though?
Yes.
I'm just going to give you the one reason that I think why.
Go on.
What's the most similar challenge to this that Aberdeen have faced recently?
Eintracht Frankfurt
away.
Yeah,
did really well.
Yeah,
Duke didn't play. It just feels like they're trying to.
Yeah, come off the bench.
Yeah, I know that. We were talking about from the start.
That was the one I had them playing from the start, and it showed you what result they had.
Just feels like they're maybe trying to replicate that type of performance.
Can totally take that on board, but I think
since then he has hit form. Is that what
yeah, and I think you've got to take into consideration. It's okay saying that worked away from home once, but you're away at Ibrox. This is your bread and butter. You're sitting deep. You're beating people behind the ball. You need an out ball. You should have learned from Livingston the other night there. Livingston had no out ball whatsoever, and Rangers just kept coming and coming and coming, and eventually they broke the door down.
I think today's a bit of a statement afternoon for Aberdeen, because they started poorly, and then we gave them immense credit for Frankfurt because everyone thought they would get a pounding in Germany, and it was only 2-1 and they might have made it 2-2. But if we have to have anything about us in this league, clubs like Aberdeen have to prove that they are worthy of putting in a challenge. And today, against a Rangers team which is absolutely torn in two because of injury, they appear not to be putting up any kind of challenge at all.
The problem is it's still just different stratospheres financially, budget wise, all the rest of it. So
we talk about the injuries that Rangers have got, right? But you look at that starting 11, a lot of the big names are in it. A lot of the money's been spent in the summer to improve the team. You get Dessers in there, you get Lammers, you get Seema in there, Cifuentes is in there, Davis come up under Beale as well. So you've got but you've got the you've got Yilmaz starting today. Big game for him. He was brought in for some decent money. So as much as yes, they've got decent players missing, that's still a strong Rangers starting 11.
And it's all Rangers so far. Barry Robson's already chucking water bottles in frustration. Aberdeen had a long throw. It ends with them being forced all the way back.
That sounds like him. Sounds like Barry.
You inevitably then turn to the Aberdeen players and say, do they have the temperament for this? They did have the temperament for Eintracht in Germany, but are some of them looking around Ibrox and thinking,
I'll be interested to see how Aberdeen
we'll give them
do.
longer than 9 minutes. We'll see. We'll see
9 minutes in eternity.
Yeah, Hugh's got the result in already. We're 9-10 minutes, but
I'd have subbed a couple of them by this time.
well, that's a guaranteed. Listen,
I'm just impressed with the technology in here that apparently the TV, the one I'm looking at, can be split in two.
Brilliant.
So the one I can see the golf and everything else that's happening all in the one telly.
It's
Who's figured out that?
Of modern
I'm
technology.
getting one in
into
for a
this.
house, mate.
What's that?
I'm getting one in for a house. That really is
Split
brilliant.
So if you're interested, USA are 5 up and 3 up in the 2-4 balls that they lead, and Europe are 1 up in the other 2-4 balls. So perhaps a surprise. Europe's
Bob McIntyre leading the way though.
Yeah, they are
and
indeed,
he's 1 up. Don't know how much he's contributing to that 1 up, but he's part of that side.
Just in roses. Come on.
So if that was if it was to end like that in the afternoon, then clearly be a very positive outcome
Don't
for
turn up
Europe.
tomorrow.
But we will see.
All
We
you
will
golfers,
see.
I mean, is there a Medina in prospect here?
Well, what was that? 10-6 Europe came back from. So if it stays the way it is at the moment, it would be 11.5, 4.5. So it would be way more
No chance. We're not
drastic
coming
than
back
that.
up.
Still time for these to change this afternoon, though. It has to be said.
We'll be turning over for the Emmerdale omnibus tomorrow at half time of this golf.
So what do they do in the last day? Do they just
12 singles.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So everybody plays.
Yeah. What happens now if say for instance you're going out and you're at the 5th hole and the Ryder Cup's finished? Do you keep playing or do you just shake hands? I can't remember what happens.
Oh no, they keep playing.
Do they?
Yeah, I'm sure
I
it's
thought
happened
they just
before. No, it
binned
happened
it.
in the. It happened.
Do they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No, just keep.
Oh, there certainly have been examples. Yeah, I think they keep playing.
I thought it was right. That's us. Let's get up the road.
Well, it's important for the player stats for the points, isn't it? They want to have that record of saying, I've won so many points in the Ryder Cup. So it's still
Really?
important.
Have your teams beat? Would you
100%,
care about that?
More importantly, if they've won, you want to go and join the party.
Yeah.
Exactly. I wouldn't even want to be. Imagine you.
Well, Fitzpatrick came in for a bit of scrutiny because he hadn't won a point in the Ryder Cup until yesterday. So it's very important.
Oh, Big Dunk, the new manager bounce. Arbroath 0, Inverness 1. Louis Longstaff just terrified to let his manager down. Doesn't want to go back in and face it. So Arbroath 0, Inverness 1.
Intriguing to see what he'll be like. I know he's a huge character and many stories follow him about, but it's his first real big shot at manager, because can you call that Where was he?
Forest Green.
Forest Green. The old
Mark,
vegan
you never,
mob.
you never heard the great story. I was on with Jim Duff. Great, I love Jim. I hope he's on regular on a Tuesday and Thursdays. But he was telling us a story when he played against Duncan Ferguson. As the goalkeeper got the ball, Big Dunk turns round and says to him, right, me and you, Duff, let's get it on here.
50-50.
50-50, and he gave him one. He boomed him. Yeah.
So he said, as the ball was in there, he goes, right, Duff, 50-50, and he whacked him in the face with the elbow.
But see, to be fair to Duff, I think Duff got his own back. Duff will no mess about.
Hugh Keevins, we've been a bit slow off the mark on this, if you're ready.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Including loan spells, can you name the last 7 players to have joined Celtic or Rangers, and they have also played in Serie A at some point in their career? Including loan spells, the last 7 players to have joined Celtic or Rangers, and they have also played in Serie A at one point in their careers.
Brilliant. It's a really, really good question. It is that. So at Clyde SSB, get them sent in to us right now. It is a race, so you're looking for all the answers on one tweet and quicker than everyone else. And speaking of tweets, I mean, Gordon DL and myself tried to steer you. Oh no, Mark Wilson and myself tried to steer you in the right direction, but a definitive answer, because amongst our listeners we have, of course, a man who caddied at Medina for Martin Keimer, don't we? Craig Connolly sent a tweet straight away. Keep playing.
Keep playing.
Keep playing. By the way,
Craig must have been devastated. He would have wanted to have joined in the celebrations.
They were involved in the thick of the drama.
He's never even sent us goal, but I hinted to him years ago in this programme. That man do not read out his tweets.
Never mind golf balls, golf clubs. Has he not heard my story about the golf clubs? The worst to Grace Loch Lomond.
He gave me a Tiger Woods autographed glove.
What?
That guy could have become my best friend.
Get that to you for?
Because the charity.
Oh, right. I thought it was sitting in your kitchen or something.
No. He's kidding me on. He very kindly came up to the house with it, gave me the Tiger Woods autographed glove, and it
doesn't mean Craig could be running about.
You're not listening. It's a charity. It's a good cause. You're not even got a couple of lake balls thrown your way.
I'm a charity. Have a look at me. I've got a stain in my shirt.
What have you done? Have you tried to clean that?
I've done a bit of DIY. Bit of hot water on it. That's what I was always told. Rub the hot water on it.
Anyway, it was it has
on your top. Still talking about your top.
The cold water.
It has been a dominant start from Rangers, but no goals yet. McGrath back to his feet. There was a 3-minute or so delay while he got treatment, but he's back for Aberdeen. Looks like he will continue. No goals in any of our featured matches yet. They did say Inverness under Duncan Ferguson are leading Queen's Park, are leading Dundee United very early on in that one. Still nothing from our other games, and I must admit I was delighted to hear that everything went well with Roger Hannah. I've got a confession to make about Roger Hannah's appearance on today's show. So Roger Hannah and I, as you well know, Gordon DL, it's a sore subject for you. We now live close to each other. You and I used to live close to each other. I've left you behind. And Roger Hannah's kit, his equipment that he uses for broadcasting this show, I was to deliver it to him. I was to pick it up, because I'm in here every night obviously. I had to take it home last night, and I was going to deliver it to him, or he was going to pick it up from my house. Great. Also, I mean, how straightforward is that? I am just on the Clydebank border this morning, and I'm very, very late for the show as it is, because I stayed at home to watch the golf. Risky, okay. I'm very late for the show as it is, and I'm coming in. I'm just entering Clydebank, and Roger phones and he says, "So will I just pop up to your house just now and get it? Is your wife in?" And I panicked initially, and I thought, I don't know if she is in. I don't know if she's in. Hold on, I'll phone her and I check. But just as I go to turn round,
it's in the back of the car.
It's in the back seat of the car.
Disaster.
So I had to about turn, try and pick a spot for him to meet me. This show started at what time?
12.
I arrived at 4 minutes to 12. It is the worst I've ever felt approaching for the show. I've cut it fine on a few occasions, but never quite like this. So if you're thinking I sound even more all over the place than usual, that'll be because I arrived 4 minutes before the show started.
Fair credit to Roger coming out and meeting you.
What do you mean credit to Roger?
Well, you're responsible for handing the kit into him.
Why did you take it
your
last night?
problems.
He wasn't in last night. His
Well,
fault. Gallivanting.
He plays darts on a Friday, Roger.
The dog and duck.
No, up the
Oh, he does. He's
rugby
a- he
club.
likes-
He likes darts up the
Big
rugby
pub
club.
goer, isn't he?
He's in the scrum in the rugby and early about 6 and then
Social
plays darts.
climbers go to rugby clubs.
Anyway, there's a VAR check according to Roger Hanna, because it's an alleged handball. Vassell appears to have played the ball off of Strain's arm. So hold on, that sounds like a mixed message, so it can't be for a Kelly penalty. Yeah, sorry, Vassell off Strain's arm, right? So a potential Kelly penalty. I read that round the wrong way. My apologies. And he did win the darts last night.
I told you. I know everything about that guy.
I thought that was a joke.
No, he
plays darts on a Friday night.
Throws his cell at the board, treble 20 all the time.
Well, we just
Never
call
misses.
him, we call him jockey from now on.
Why see him getting a double?
Jockey Wilson.
Just name your double. Oh, they're ahead in there.
So I'm going to take out a leaf out of Hugh Keevins' book. He arrives 4 hours before the show. I went 4 minutes.
Friday.
By the way,
try and meet somewhere
Gordon,
in the
no
middle.
one would have noticed. Professional as ever. Straight into the show. Yeah, no problem with me.
Which one of you was getting briefed to do the news intro?
Me. Shug. Shug would have been great at it.
For entertainment purposes, they maybe should have let one of you two do it.
Super Scoreboard coming up.
You would have
First of all,
opened it by saying Celtic are struggling, we've not even kicked off yet.
time these players, time these players were away.
Remember the night I went on holiday and left you two to do the show for 20 minutes on your
That
own?
was magic. That was one of my favourite
I bet
shows.
it was.
We were
The nation agreed.
We got a lot of good feedback.
We didn't talk 1 ounce of football.
No, that's like we do today.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
No penalty, but Kilmarnock have taken the lead, and it is from a Brad Lyons header, a former St Mirren player as well, up for a high ball with the goalkeeper. He headed it in, and it's 1-0 Kilmarnock.
What a week Stephen Robinson's having. He lost to Hibs at Easter Road, and I think it was refreshing because there were no complaints about VAR, about any Hibs player, about Nick Montgomery, nothing. It was just a first class game of football, and Hibs scored more goals than St Mirren. That's how the way it used to be before we had every excuse in the world about why teams lost. So, but today it seems as if Kilmarnock are deservedly in front. So Stephen Robinson having to lift his players now.
Oh, big chance for Rangers. It's a Ryan Jack cross, a Cyril Desser's close range header. It's beaten away by Kellaroos. One of those, maybe similar to James Forrest's earlier. Head it anywhere else and it goes in, but straight at the goalkeeper. Kingsley's got a free kick for Hearts, but straight into the wall. And Kelly with the only goal of our 3 o'clock games so far. It's a great start.
Oh yeah, see, looking at those fixtures this afternoon, I'm thinking I would love to be Roger -3 stone at Rugby Park, and I would hate it to be.
That's poor from you. That's
Okay,
a little
2.5 stone.
I think you've taken that too far this afternoon.
I know he lost a wee bit, but he's still a bit to go. And I would hate to be David Friel.
Just generally, or
yeah, generally
right.
David or Friel. But look
I
at
don't
that.
think you can say that
The
our teammates.
The Slaughterman knows they're getting it back. David Friel, St Johnstone Livingston. We will not hear from him until it's half time and full time. There you go.
I think so.
Guaranteed. There are no goal flashes going up there. Not a
That's
chance.
it. You talk the game up. That's great. Craig Connolly's been back on. Gordon, Hunners of Boz. I'll pop down.
Oh yes, Craigie boy. He's my mate.
A piece at Andy's door. He
Tell should have had him on today. He could have been a Ryder Cup correspondent.
Tell him I'll pop up.
Right, I'll go 50-50 on 60-40 with you and however many he brings, right?
No, I'll pop up.
I need them more than you, though. You don't lose any.
Okay, 60-40. Make sure a good ones, but we're not having tatties.
Roger Hanna says pipe down, or he's going to tweet the picture of you with the yogurt all over your jumper.
It's gone now. Look at that.
You did alright last night.
Gone now.
Yeah, you did alright there.
Thank you.
Clean up job. Thistle have equalised. Scott Robinson with the goal there for the Jags.
I was in looking at my good friend Thursday, working away there very hard, so I'm hoping for good results at the weekend. Big Martin Bartley.
Did you go down to Queen of the South training, did you?
Yeah, went into the gym.
You've been threatening it for weeks.
Yeah, great setup.
He must have been delighted to see you walk in when he's at his work.
Yeah, we had a good chat. We got a workout. obviously lifts the same sort of weights. They dodge him, as I called him. He was running about in the gym, knocking everybody. Bang, bang. Hey, I think you'll find I'm on that machine. Boom.
Do you know what? I'm getting my games mixed up here. I've said Thistle have equalised. They've taken the lead. My apologies. Thistle 1, Dunfermline 0. I got my wires crossed. Scott Robinson is, for the avoidance of doubt, is the opener in that game. The Spartans 0, Bonnie Rigrose 1. Ross Gray with the goal there.
A fixture there that you wouldn't have dreamt of would be in the actual.
Exactly.
Yeah, in the leagues a couple of years ago.
The two most recent additions to the SPFL coming up from the Lowland League. Will there be another at the end of this season? East Kilbride have started very brightly indeed. So it has been an interesting time with the pyramid opening up. But Bonnie Rigrose leading Spartans. It is the Spartans though, isn't it? Because on my screen there it says Spartans FC, but it's the Spartans.
Is that the, isn't it?
Is that not the Spartans?
Yeah, the Spartans. That's their official name. So if you're posting a letter, post it to the Spartans.
It's a daft name.
I did the Scottish Cup draw last week, and I'm sure it specifically had to be the Spartans. It is.
Any good fixtures? I missed it, Gordon.
Oh, you hold on. You mean to tell me that when you were in Dubai, you didn't go out your way to tune into the second round draw of the Scottish Gas Men's Scottish Cup?
I should have as well.
I was in Motherwell and I never tuned in. Well, I echo Mark's words there. Any good fixtures?
What's the standouts?
I can't remember.
Buying a bit of time.
Who did it with you? Who was pulling the balls?
Well, just to spew the script that I read last week, because it's the 150th year in the Scottish Cup, they're trying to get people who've played a big part in some of the big moments of the Cup over the year.
Yeah.
So it was one of the men who scored on the night that Super Cali went ballistic. It was Paul Sheeran.
I signed
good
Paul
player.
Sheeran.
Peanut.
I signed him.
Aye.
Good player, good lad.
Is he still at Kelly?
Cully, yeah, assistant manager, moved up, and Tony Dock, good player. Didn't have a lot of pace, but obviously fit it into a well organised side of it.
What a night that was. Punch up in the dressing room at half time.
Oh, was there?
Oh yeah.
Viduka and Barnes,
said he wasn't going back on.
Aye.
And
he didn't. So there was, as they say in Melbourne, a square go.
I mean, obviously the highlight of the round was Clyde. The Bankies are away for Martin. We sent them miles away. I'm sure.
What is that? Oh, Gordon,
I played it
again.
Where is that?
It's we actually played them in the Scottish Cup when I was at
It could be further at this stage of the competition, but it's a fair.
It's no way up Nairnway.
Oh, it's miles. I didn't go. I just
for Martin United, yeah.
I sat in the house waiting for
it's in Aberdeenshire.
Of course, I was speaking to Gordon the day of. He was travelling to way up Fort William, and he was devastated at that.
Lovely
By the way,
place.
they take a good few buses up, don't they, Hugh?
Fort
the Bankies.
Yeah. Fort William's brilliant though. I'd happily go up there anytime, but I saw that for Martin. I thought, where is that?
Aberdeenshire. Yeah, Motherwell played them not that long ago. Might be Dave Galloway's local team actually, now that I think about it.
Oh, it's not the worst wee pitch and stadium in the world. You're happy.
When was the last time you were there? I mean, honestly,
that's a fair point. About
like genuinely, what, 20 plus years ago?
Probably, yeah. But a lot doesn't change in football grounds.
The Gordon Dalziel derby happens to be on today. Did you know that?
No, who's playing?
Ayr United 0, Wraith Rovers 1. Dylan Easton.
He was just telling us he's going up to the Wraith Rovers Hall of Fame dinner, and you didn't even know they were playing.
I think it's November. Obviously.
Why are you going up? You usually avoid them.
I know.
Or you don't get invited.
Must be a few quid.
I think
must be a few shekels coming your way.
To present one of the inductees and present him with these.
Okay, don't give it away. Luton are beating Everton. Are they finally going to get something?
I'll bet you they don't.
On the board, Man United losing again.
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
Incredible.
More importantly, Rangers' chances have dried up a bit. You would have to say Aberdeen, though, are still offering nothing in the final third, and you just don't know if you can sustain that, Mark.
No, well, history will tell us that it's very difficult to sustain that. Just really putting a defensive block on and not really having an out ball. What you can only play that way so long, because good players will find a way through. However, when you look at the Rangers side, and I say good players, Dessers again, poor. Lammers for me just looks like a fish out of water playing in this Rangers side.
Was he not? I think he was better than midweek.
Better. I mean,
he probably needs
if that's the
but it's that final bit, isn't it? Because everyone if you kind of control it nicely and shift it nicely, and then the finish is terrible, it's that last bit you remember. He needs that last bit to click, doesn't he?
Yeah, he certainly does. So maybe Barry Robson's looking at that and thinking, can this Rangers team, have they got it there to break us down? But Aberdeen just aren't carrying a threat the other side.
I'll tell you what, the Gordon Duncan derby, Wraith Rovers 2 up on Airedale and Easton second in quick succession. Hugh, remind us of your teaser, please, if you can.
Bit of topicality with Lazio coming to Celtic Park on Wednesday in the Champions League, including loan spells. Can you name the last 7 players to have joined Celtic or Rangers, and they have also played in Serie A at some point in their careers?
It's a really, really good question, I have to say. Can I see your sheet, please, Hugh? Let's do some wrong answers, get them eliminated. Okay, Kieran has gone for Liam Henderson.
No, he's not there.
He's correct in your sheet.
I think the time frame is doing some here, because there's a notable mentions for Donati.
Massimo
Donati.
No.
And Timothy Weah.
Not there.
That tells you how recent some of these are, okay? That's what you've got to bear in mind. What else have we got here? Yeah, I can tell you what, it's a good effort. Derek wants to throw in Yanis Hadji.
Throw him back out.
Okay, keep your guesses coming then, please, at Clyde SSB. Looking for all 6 on the same tweet. So let's see how we get on.
Only 6, Gordon?
Oh, is it? What did...
I don't know.
7. Apologies.
7.
I've just chopped one off for good measure.
Chopped off Henderson, we had them.
Alright, get rid of him.
Yeah,
forget that.
He's a certainty.
Okay, alright.
Okay, no more goals to tell you about just now. I will bring you reaction from... Well, I'll tell you what, let's just do it just now. Brendan Rodgers, Celtic fans.
This I've got to hear.
You will be keen to hear this, I'm sure. You can share your thoughts on the open line. This was Brendan Rodgers' take after winning late on at Fir Park.
Obviously I was here a few years back and I'm on a late one with Tom Roderick, and I thought that was as close as we'd probably get to win a game late on, but that was it was a great response by the players, incredible mentality. And I said to them afterwards that this club's history is built on many late goals. That's what Celtic does, but you have to have that will and desire to keep going. I thought we dominated the game. Credit to Motherwell, because they were very compact, very tight, low on the pitch, and you're not going to have it all your own way, so you've got to be patient, you've got to work the ball at speed, and probably our only thing was lacking maybe a wee bit of quality just when we got in and around the box. We had a couple of chances. James had a header, a couple of other good opportunities, but obviously once they equalised, we stayed calm, kept working the ball and just waiting for that moment, and it was a fantastic finish off his right side. No, absolutely delighted for the players. They give so much to the game and deserved the 3 points.
Well, did they work the ball at speed? I don't think they did for long periods in the game, but he's correct that the history of Celtic has been built on moments such as that, and that they certainly delivered one. It was an exercise in tremendous resilience, because at 1-1 you think Celtic had the get out of jail card, and then they're thrown to the ground because they let Motherwell equalise, and you could not have imagined there was a third goal in the game at that point. However, as I say, Matt O'Reilly, just to prove how unpredictable the game was, having spent the whole day not being a threat, comes up with the winning goal.
I mean, Celtic have done it numerous times. Was it McDermott Park last season when that sort of thing happened? Equalised and then back up the other end.
Anthony Ralston at Dingwall.
Yeah, but that one was specifically, St Johnstone scored. And Celtic went back up the other end. Mark, so that mentality, I guess, has to be worked upon over the years.
Of course, and I touched on that right when they scored, that the experienced players who've been there over the years. Cal McGregor, who was probably quiet today, look, I would put Greg Taylor in there now. O'Reilly's been there a while. Those are the ones that you want, to drag you over the line, and the quality was there and the finish was there to match.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Where's the goal? Rangers have been on top. It's been quiet elsewhere. St Mirren had been behind at Rugby Park, but they are the ones that are level, and it looks like it is an own goal. It's a cross from the left, slid in at the back post. One of those ones, tried to provide the clearance, couldn't quite manage it. Looks like it did come off a Killie player, and it's gone into the back of the net to make it Killie 1, St Mirren 1.
Well, Stephen Robinson's week could end on something of a high. I've tipped St Mirren to win away from home today. and they're back in it, albeit fortuitously.
Yeah, looks like McGuinness, who might be the unfortunate one, but that's the response Stephen Robinson would be looking for. There's quite a few players who've played for the opposition previously today, by the looks of it.
I know jokingly I was talking about Roger there down at Rugby Park. I believed that would be the best game for entertainment and goals, and so far I'm correct. And I think there'll be more, because I think there's two teams that are desperate to get that victory. Kilmarnock's had a couple of poor results now. They're sitting down there in 8th in the league. St Mirren disappointed, get knocked out the cup, so they're looking to go for it. Two good, decent enough teams that can score goals. I think Roger will get more.
Morton 0, Airdrie 1. Did you see Airdrie's goal last week?
Oh, about 100 passes.
Incredible,
it was
wasn't it?
Unreal the way they play. They've got real identity and know how to work the ball. Good finish as well.
Yes, absolutely. It is Kyle McGuinness who's been credited with that own goal.
I think the frustrating thing for Derek, the way they started the season, Kilmarnock, and you thought they look tough to break down, they look hard to play against, and goals are going to be hard to come by. After Celtic and Rangers, teams are starting to find a way against them.
No one in the last 5 league games, is that correct? You're right, Mark, because everyone was talking about, they're definitely got to be in the top 4, top 6, no doubt about it. Still time to go, but they've seemed to hit a sticky patch just now.
Luton are 2 up at Everton, Hugh.
Incredible.
Even south of the border, teams like to throw your predictions back in your face.
Everton, who won 3-1 away from home last weekend, and now down 2-0. It's all kicking off at Everton anyway. The fans don't want the new owners, and so on and so forth.
Good game at Easter Road. Hibs have had a good spell on top, a few chances but couldn't score. Dundee are now kind of back in it again. McCowan and Boateng with a couple of good efforts. As far as 2-minute spells go, how's this for Kyle McGuinness? Scores an own goal and then limps off injured.
You just know it's not your day.
Young Watson has come on for Kelly in the middle of the pitch. St Johnstone are carrying more of a threat. It's Livy who are not offering much in the final third. Does that surprise you?
Begin to fear for Livy. They've lost 7 goals to Celtic and Rangers in the space of 4 days. One of these times David Martindale's not going to pull off the great escape, and just wonder if they're going to toil badly this season.
New owners, of course. It's a good deep cross from James Tavernier. Cifuentes runs onto it but just can't quite find the right contact. Not sure he made any contact at all actually in the end, and it stays Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0.
Well, the fans will be getting slightly nervous. They've watched good chances go a begging. They'll still be trying to get the Celtic result and the way it happened out of their minds. And they will be very, very anxious that Rangers don't drop anything at Ibrox today.
I don't think they'll be. I know what you're saying, Hugh. You always want to go off to a good start, get a goal, especially at home after what Celtic have achieved this afternoon. But plenty of football to go. They sound like they're dominating the most of the possession. We watched it the other night against Livingston. It was the same scenario. Dominated the possession, went in 1-0 at half time, came out in the second half, ran out comfortable winners. So it's probably taking the same pattern just now. Yes, you want goals, of course you do, but still patience and plenty of time to go. You hear Brendan Rodgers talking about patience. Sometimes that's what the good teams do. I always get back to this. We get carried away a little bit. If they score late on, doesn't matter if you score in the first minute or the 94th minute. It's all about getting the 3 points and winning games. And if you've got a team that's capable of doing that, you're always in the game.
I think Rangers, Mark, there's a question mark over how intense it is and how long those intense periods are, and they started bright maybe in the last 10. Now this is the bit where it maybe has dropped off a little.
I think so. I said that on Thursday night, that for Rangers this season it's been fits and starts, that at times they have little bursts of a couple of minutes where everything clicks and they maybe get a goal, but then there's large periods of games that it's just pedestrian and slow, and they're looking for a player really to step up and do something to get the crowd off their seat, and it usually goes on for about 40-50 minutes. And I think that's been Michael Beale's biggest problem, a kind of joining it all up to make a much better looking performance. And by all accounts today's first half is pretty similar to that.
Goal at Ibrox, right on cue.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
but it's for Aberdeen. Rangers 0, Aberdeen 1. Gartenman from a corner at the back post finds the finish, and if the Rangers fans were looking to get off their seat, as Mark Wilson suggested, they'll be up to give their team an earful, because Rangers are behind and Aberdeen lead at Ibrox.
Well, I said to you before the game started, if you're a fatalist, you look at how Celtic's game ended and you think to yourself, I'll bet you Rangers go on and drop points. Now Aberdeen have something to hold on to, and Rangers must score twice in order to get all 3 points, and right now their attempts at goal scoring haven't been the best, so it'll be a very tense place that we visit at half time with Andrew McLean.
Yeah, you've got to say, I think any manager that loses a goal from a set play will be disappointed. There's no doubt. But look, it's incredible. Aberdeen have went there with a game plan, sat in, given Rangers all the possession, got that one set play. I said earlier today at Fir Park, Motherwell's best chance probably would have been a set play. The goal came from the long throw in, caused a bit of problems. This afternoon, Aberdeen, corner kick, undone the Rangers defence. Now they're in a nice position. It's up to Rangers to go and break them down.
A lot of focus has been on what Rangers aren't doing in an attacking sense, Mark, and the irony being Michael Beale sat yesterday, waxed lyrical about his defensive platform and was pleased with that side of it, but the defensive covering job from Cifuentes in particular, I think Jack Butland was maybe in two minds as well, but Cifuentes has not covered himself in glory at all.
Well, he's let his side down there. There may have been a slight block in there, but at a set piece you have got to make sure that you can see your man at all times, and Cifuentes lets his run off him for an easy tapping.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
St Johnstone 1, Livingston 0. They had been in top, and Dara Costello is the man who has found the bottom corner. It was a low finish, he was played in and made no mistake. Has actually looked bright in moments in his early St Johnstone career, and it was a deserved lead, that, according to David Friel. 1-0 St Johnstone. Livy struggling.
I fancied them today, Hugh. I've taken St Johnstone only because in the last 2 times I've watched Livy, they've not impressed me at all. They've looked really, really poor. If St Johnstone are going to win a game, going to get their season off and running, this is it this afternoon. They've taken the lead just before half time. They've got to capitalise on that for me.
Dara Costello came on at Celtic Park and very nearly beat Celtic that day as well, but for a good save from Joe Hart. I said to you earlier, beginning to get a little fearful with regard to Livy. You know, you can lose 7 goals to Rangers and Celtic over the space of 4 days. That can happen, but the resilience that was always there, that kept them up, isn't there at the moment.
He nearly scores again from kick-off, Dara Costello. I don't really know how, but Shamal George makes the save. Hearts are well on top, but no breakthrough there. Tony Watt has equalised for Dundee United at home to Queen's Park, and I think I know why, because he sent me a message during the week to say that he's really into listening to the Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast in the morning on his way to training.
Oh, really?
Magical.
So he listens to the Friday night one?
Inspirational. Oh, every day.
Alright, but
popular, the podcast there. When I was away, loads of people in Dubai were saying they listen to podcasts. I don't know why. I didn't think it would be.
I need to listen.
Well, you're on it. What are you listening for?
No, but I can maybe listen to Hugh and Roger.
Just listen live.
People like that.
Because we are genuinely proud of the role that you play in the show. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. But I do wonder, is there any sort of mixed emotion when you go all the way to Dubai and people approach you, and never to say, Mark, we loved you as a player? It's usually just we like Super Scoreboard.
It's a lot about Super Scoreboard.
It's funny that
probably about 95% is about Super Scoreboard, which is weird. Makes all my other stuff seems
probably
insignificant.
My fan club up asking him how he
it's true. Like, is the worldwide feel of it. So when I was young, I had a friend who lived nearby who was American. He was born in America. He came over here for a few years, and then he went back over the road. So I get a message from and we don't really speak that often anymore. He lives in Oklahoma as well, so not like a tourist hotspot or anything. I get a message from him the other morning, thinking I don't really hear from him very often. He says, I met someone last night who loves Super Scoreboard, and the classic Next line, they wanted to know if you were really a Motherwell fan. Okay, there we go. The people of Oklahoma have to know.
Yeah. You see,
so there we are.
This is one of Scotland's institutions.
It's incredible.
Yeah, you've been here for the start, have you not? Yeah.
Well, nearly.
Here's another one we've been looking after, taken under our wing. Marvin Bartley, Kelty 0, Queen of the South 1. Jake Hutchinson with the goal.
You're taking credit for that, are you?
Let's just say it could get tense in here this afternoon, because myself, Mark Wilson, Gordon DL, always obviously with the gambling responsible, we pick a team each at the start of the day, and we just go for it and see how it works out. And I put my faith in the Palmerston Pep this afternoon. He was my pick away to Kelty. If he lets us down, you'll never hear him again on this show.
No.
Who's your side then?
Alloa. No, I've
What's
got
going on with
Alloa.
Alloa?
Come on.
I think still goalless.
Come on, the Wasps. They're a wee sting in the tail.
Do you know I got stung 2 weeks ago?
How do you go?
That was the type of thing that only happened to children. I just never considered it as something that would happen to an adult at any stage.
That's true. You don't hear many adults getting stung
in the back.
Weird. In the back?
Well, sort of the side,
How did the wasp get in your t-shirt?
Well, it didn't. It stung me through the t-shirt, presumably.
Where were you?
Really?
I was at Creef Hydro.
You're in the bath.
It stung you through the t-shirt? I didn't think they could sting through
maybe
t-shirts.
it did get up my t-shirt. I don't know. I
a
just
big
felt
wasp.
it. And
Everton will get one back. Here they come.
yeah.
Is it sore?
Do you know what? Like sorer than I thought it would be.
I've never been stung.
Ashamed to say.
Never been stung before. And I don't think I ever will now that I'm an adult.
Well, exactly.
I
That's
think
kind of
I've
what I
got my
thought
wits
as
about
well.
me.
But
When wasps
that's
did a
the
bit.
thing. But they don't warn you. They don't say
The buzz. So you hear the buzz. That's a warning.
yeah, but it can
I'm
be
coming
quicker
for
than
you.
that.
Will we round up the
Oh,
teaser?
Marvin, what's happening here?
No way.
Penalty, Kelty.
He cannot keep the one thing I say is any chance
a
of keeping
dud.
a clean sheet.
Well, we don't know if they'll.
The goalkeeper will bail him out. Kelty boys not
He
very
scored.
good.
Lewis Moore. Lewis Moore, sorry. This guy.
Oh, you bummed yourself right up. I picked my put my
but I did
faith
say,
in.
and I did say, if it goes wrong, we'll
Hey,
never hear from him
Still
again.
a 1-1. He always scores in the second half. Great
Yeah, you're
team
right,
talk.
Hugh. Let's round off this teaser if you don't mind.
Yep.
The first half teaser.
With the ScottishSun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
The last 7 players, loanees or permanent signings, to have joined Celtic or Rangers and also played in Serie A at some point in their careers: Cyril Dessers, Sam Lammers, Olivier Abelgard, Aaron Ramsey, Amad Diallo, Joe Hart, and Diego Laxalt.
Unbelievable. So hard. We tried to make them hard today because you're all far too clever for us. And I think, please feel free to put your hand up if you disagree, only one person got all them right, and it was Stephen Oliver on Twitter, which is incredible. What an effort. Well done, Stephen. An empty podium. He's lonely. There's nobody else up there in the podium keeping him company.
Yeah.
Not even us.
Even us. We only got 4.
I mean,
we only
seriously,
got
Abelgard.
what's
That's
a
a hard one.
Who did he play for? Do we know?
Celtic.
No. Okay.
And you forget Joe Hart, spell it
Joe
Torino,
Hart.
don't
I
you?
totally
Yeah.
forgot about Joe Hart.
Yeah, that's the thing you do. You forget all about that spell, probably. So it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. Abelgard went on loan to Verona, didn't he?
Right.
Oh, it's nice there in Verona. Been there.
I think he still plays in Italy, but in Serie B, could be wrong. Double check. Oh no. Apparently Stephen Oliver had Philippe Hilander, so nobody got it all right. That never happens on this show.
Hilander not one? No,
not in the
Not in the last 7?
Not in the last 7. Wow.
Of course, Hilander would have been before Ramsey, would have.
Yeah, so Dessers, Lammers, Abelgard, Ramsey, Diallo, Hart and Laxalt. Incredible.
That boy from Auburn's one up.
Yeah, good on you. However, the other match has gone to a tie, so
Rory's in that one, no. Rory.
So USA leading in 2 of the 4 balls, Europe up in 1 and tied in the other. So it could do with that tie turning back just to add a bit more gloss. It's half time in Dingwall. Dave Galloway.
Half time, Ross County 0, Hearts 0. Hearts started brightly, confidently knocking the ball about. They carved out a few chances, but they just didn't take them. Stephen Kingsley shot over from 8 yards when the ball fell for him. He had a 20-yard free kick as well that he hit straight into the wall. Really disappointing effort there. Aidan Denham drove forward, but he blazed well over the bar. George Grant tested Ross Laidlaw with a low, well-struck drive, which was parried by the keeper. Ross County, in contrast, have created very little. James Brown's dangerous, inviting cross, well held by Xander Clark, and they almost got in behind and through on goal a couple of times. However, that was about it. Then as half-time drew close, Hearts almost scored the opener. A lovely turn on the edge of the box by Lawrence Shankland to create space for himself, and he curled one in, but unfortunately for him it just cleared the crossbar. Hoping for better fare in the second half. At the interval, it's a deadlock, 0-0.
So, plenty more football to be played there. What about Easter Road, Fraser?
Hibernian 0, Dundee 0. Quite enjoyed the game actually. It's been pretty open. Hibs with their 4 attackers trying to get forward at all times, trying to get that opening goal. Dundee not only defending well, but at times looked really dangerous on the break and knocked the ball about quite well in the midfield. Just lacking a goal to give the fans something to cheer about. Both sides started the game pretty well. Hibs getting into good positions, especially on the left hand side, but no decent final ball. There's Dundee that threatened early on. In 12 minutes, a lovely outswinging cross on the left by Luke McCowan, a really powerful header by Zach Rudden for about 10 yards. Really good save by David Marshall, diving to his right to push the ball away. Then a minute later, hesitation at the back by Hibs almost cost them a goal. Will Fish kicked the ball away, tried to clear it to hit Bakayoko on the leg and ballooned over the bar with Marshall beaten. That sparked Hibs into action, and it was actually Paul Hanlon and Fish that were their most potent threats in the attack in the third 16 minutes. At the other end, a long throw by Miller, flicked on by Fish, it bounced in the box. Venter looked certain to score from about 6 yards, but Carson was off his line to spread himself and get a touch to touch the ball wide. Hanlon was next to come close. Boyle with an in-swinging corner, bounced in the 6 yard box, but Paul Hanlon couldn't keep his header down. Then Fish was a head flick, was cleared off the line by Bakayoko, a scramble in the 6 yard box, and Hanlon couldn't get the end of it before he fixed it half. So another header from Newell, free kick, this time saved by Carson. Dundee did get back into the game towards the break. Young left back Owen Beck, really prominent. Luke McCowan shot into the side net, and Malachi Boateng curled a 20-yard shot just over the bar. But towards the break, the tempo of the game dropped a bit and chances dried up. Hibs still pushing forward, and Joe Newell came closest with a low in-swinging free kick that he drove towards goal, just looking for a touch from an attacker, but in the end a comfortable save for Trevor Carson. Same again, the second half will be okay, but this time with a few goals added to give the fans something to cheer about. Half time at Easter Road, Hibs 0, Dundee 0.
What about Rugby Park?
Yeah, half time, Gordon Kilmarnock 1, St Mirren 1, just about fair. Killie started the half so much stronger, but it was St Mirren who finished it stronger. Kilmarnock there, an early penalty check. Skipper Kelvis Seller a shot in the box, it looked to strike Ryan Strain in the arm. Referee Chris Graham delayed the restart. VAR Alan Muir had quite a lengthy look at it, but wave play on, no spot kick. But Kilmarnock did get a breakthrough in 19 minutes, and it was an error by the former Kilmarnock goalkeeper Zach Hemming. High ball into the box, Hemming went up with Brad Lyons. You expect the goalkeeper all day long to deal with it, but he didn't. He tried to punch it, he missed it. Lyons headed it over him and into the empty net for the opener. It could have been 2-0. Matty Kennedy, a great run down the left, and a shot deflected that flew past the far post. Killie had another spot kick claim, a corner on the left. It was floated in, it struck, looked to strike Michael Mandron, who had come back to defend, looked to strike him in the right hand. Clearly though, it would have been looked at by VAR. Play on again, and then St Mirren really began to come into the game as it drew on, and they levelled in 31 minutes. Scott Tanzer making progress down the left hand side. He fizzed the ball into the 6 yard box. Ryan Strain coming in at the back post. Kyle McGuinness, the former St Mirren player, had to deal with it, and as he tried to clear, all he did was fire it high into his own net for the equaliser. Conor McMenamin moments later had a shot well held by Will Dennis, but McGuinness's woes continued as he limped off to be replaced in the midfield by David Watson. Killie striker Ennis Cameron, the only first half booking for a foul on Alec Gogic, but St Mirren ended the half on the front foot. Keanu Bacchus, a shot blocked, the rebound fell for former Killie star Greg Kilty. His shot also deflected, flew inches wide of the far post. It's all to play for at Rugby Park. Killie 1, St Mirren 1.
What about Ibrox, Andrew McLean?
Rangers 0, Aberdeen 1. The half-time score, Stephen Gartman's goal meant boos rang around Ibrox as that whistle went just a few moments ago. Rangers had dominated the ball. You know, they kept it in Aberdeen's half, not just for the the early stages, but for most of that half really. They created a few openings as well early on. Dessers fired over, there was Sam Lammers at the edge of the box who pulled one wide. A couple of headed chances followed as well. Cifuentes, his was a cross from the left. Abdallah Sima could only glance that one wide, and then probably Rangers' biggest chance of the game fell to Cyril Dessers, who he was at close range. Ryan Jack whipping this one in, and Dessers, he probably should have done better because he headed straight at Kel Roos, who just had to beat that one away. I think if he'd headed it either side, it definitely would have been a goal. But as the game went on, Rangers' chances, they dried up. They still dominated the ball and territory, but Aberdeen's way back into the game was through set pieces. They had a couple of long throws trying to cause Rangers problems, weren't able to from those. However, 38 minutes in, it was Leighton Clarkson's corner. It went over everyone. I think Jack Butland maybe looked in two minds whether to come for it or not. There was maybe a bit of a block in there from an Aberdeen player, but Stephen Gartenman at the back post, he got away from Jose Cifuentes and slid in to silence this Ibrox crowd and send the travelling fans in the corner absolutely wild. And it means there is a huge 45 minutes coming up for Michael Beale and these Rangers players, because the half-time score at Ibrox is Rangers 0, Aberdeen 1.
Yes, quite the story developing there at Ibrox. We will see what the second half has for us. Have we been to McDiarmid Park yet? I don't think so. David Friel?
No, Gordon, half-time, St Johnstone 1, Livingston 0, and St Johnstone could be in course for that first league win of the season after Dara Costella's opener. Stephen McLean said they've been really good in this 45 minutes. First 45, they deserve their lead. In fact, the St Johnstone boss will probably be disappointed not to have a few more goals in the bag. Look, Jeffcott was given the nod up front by McLean. He hasn't really repaid that faith so far. He's struggled. He missed a great chance in 20 minutes after good work from Graham Carey. He also fired over where he could have probably passed. Dara Costello had a shot. He fired wide from 16 yards. Livingston up the other end, they've been pretty quiet in the final third. A wee bit of pressure, but Jamie Brandon had a low drive save, and that's about it. Costello then finally put Saints ahead in 36 minutes. It was a deserved opener. He ran onto Dan Phillips' pass and fired into the bottom corner past Shamal George. St Johnstone full of confidence, but David Martindale does not look a happy man. No doubt he will have some choice words for his Livingston players at the break. Half time, St Johnstone 1, Livingston 0.
We'll do a full roundup of the half-time scores next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Scores in the Scottish Premiership then. A full-time result: Motherwell 1, Celtic 2, Hibs 0, Dundee 0, Kilmarnock 1, St Mirren 1, Rangers 0, Aberdeen 1, Ross County 0, Hearts 0, and St Johnstone 1, Livingston 0. In the Championship, Arbroath 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 2, Ayr United 0, Wraith Rovers 2, Dundee United 1, Queen's Park 1, Morton 0, Airdrie 1, and Partick Thistle 1, Dunfermline 0. In League 1, it's Alloa 0, Edinburgh City 0, Falkirk 0, Montrose 0, and Kelty 1, Queen of the South 1. In League 2, Dumbarton 2, Stranraer 1, East Fife 1, Forfar 0, Peterhead 2, Elgin 0, Stenhousemuir 1, Clyde 0, the Spartans 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 1. And if the Premier League in England is your thing, it finished Villa 6, Brighton 1, Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 2 at the break, Everton 1, Luton 2, Man United 0, Palace 1, Newcastle 1, Burnley 0, West Ham 2, Sheffield United 0, and Wolves 1, Man City 0. Bob McIntyre's just scored, to use the football term. So Europe 2 up in his match, tied in another. The USA have 1 point back and lead in the fourth of those 4 balls in the Ryder Cup this afternoon as well. And the second halves are coming up next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Interesting afternoon of football already, and it is not done yet. Celtic with the most dramatic of wins at Fir Park. Motherwell equalised in the 94th, 95th minute, I think, and Celtic still had time to go and find a winner. It's not quite as dramatic yet at Ibrox, but it's heading for the wrong type of drama unless something changes in the second half. Andrew McLean?
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, the crowd were definitely on Rangers' side at the start, and that's because Rangers were dominant. They were looking quite good. They were creating chances, albeit, not clear-cut chances really. There was one with Cyril Dessers, that header that he really should have done better with, but they were the much better side. I think the Rangers supporters could see what the team were trying to do, but I always feel there's just a moment that sometimes it turns, and there was a deep cross from James Tavernier. He was trying to find someone in behind, and the ball was just way too hard, bounced all the way through to Kel Roos, and at that point the chances had dried up a wee bit, and then the crowd, the groans start to come about at that point. The game gets a bit shakier. as I say, the chances had dried up, so they're not really offering this crowd anything. Aberdeen hadn't offered anything at all, and then the set pieces, that was what really changed it for them. They had a couple of long throws that didn't really come to anything, and then that Leighton Clarkson corner, Rangers should have dealt with it better defensively, but Gartenmann is the one that gambles at the back post. He gets by Cifuentes and he manages to get that goal, and that's why there were those boos at the break. There have been a couple of changes for Rangers as well. Ridvan Yilmaz, his afternoon is over, and it's going to be Borna Barisic that comes on for him. Scott Wright is also on the pitch as well. Ryan Jack will make way, so you'd think he will provide that width on the right. Maybe Abdallah Sima pushing over and providing that width on the left. Sam Lammers in behind Cyril Dessers as well. But those are two players who, of course, big signings in the summer, haven't really hit the heights so far this campaign and haven't really done it today at all. Cyril Dessers has really been losing that battle up against the Aberdeen back three so far, and Sam Lammers, he tries to be cute and clever at times, but it's just not really come off for him either. So Michael Beale will be looking for a lot more from those two players in this second half. We'll be hoping that the width that he's brought on can provide something. But we are now underway, and a big 45 minutes in store for this Rangers side.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy, putting patients at the heart of everything they do. Visit them today.
Big 45 minutes ahead, Hugh, because if these Rangers newcomers were surprised at the reaction to the performance in a win against Motherwell, well, that'll be cranked up a fair bit if they don't even get the 3 points this afternoon.
This goes one of three ways. Aberdeen win, our first call at 5 o'clock is Beale out. Rangers draw, our first call is a Rangers fan saying this is not good enough. Rangers win, first call, we got out of jail, this is not good enough. It's almost a situation where Michael Beale can't win, but he would give you anything for 2 goals in this second half, because unless Rangers get full points, he is the one who comes under the spotlight. And I take your point about players. I'm fed up hearing about Dessers and how long it takes him, and fed up about Lammers, and he looks good at times. Sima, they are not delivering, and the problem for the manager is he'll be the one that gets the sack and they'll be there.
Yeah, Rangers looking for a quick response, Gordon, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah, it'll be interesting. They'll need a bit of character now, because you hear Andrew there at Ibrox. Rangers fans, they've lost a little bit of patience. They need a reaction. Michael Beale needs a reaction, and it's up to Hugh's right. As much as you point the finger at Michael Beale, there's good enough players out there that can go and turn the game round, and it's up to them to go and show character and strength, get back into this game. You're looking at an Aberdeen team that's sitting second bottom of the league just now. You're at home, you've come out and said that you've in the last few games, I think Rangers have been criticised a wee bit unfairly. I know it wasn't great against Motherwell, but clean sheets, they were winning games, good European result and performance. But today, Aberdeen, you cannot afford at this early stage, and I know it's early, to sit 7 points already behind Celtic.
Well, the Premiership needs to take a leaf out of the lower league's book at the start of the second half. Montrose have come out quick, taking the lead at Falkirk. Thistle have doubled their lead at home to Dunfermline. Ayr have pulled one back at home to Wraith Rovers, and Inverness are 3-0 up at Arbroath. Reminds me of that conversation you and I were having before the show, where I said Inverness would get the new manager bounce.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
You said nonsense. Well, and Arbroath would win that one today.
I've already got this all set up. Dunk will win today. Everton will sack their manager. Dunk will be the new manager by Monday. But the manager's bounce. Oh, there's a half-time team talk bounce.
Kelty 2, Queen of the South 1. Marvin Bartley, what are you doing to us? Anyway, whilst we digest that news, Hugh Keevins, let's do this.
Yep.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I think this is a cheeky wee question. And Deck, pay attention. I have played alongside Frank Lampard and Thomas Gravison. I've been managed by Harry Redknapp. I became the assistant manager of the team I retired at. Although I won other trophies in my career, The only league title I won came in Scotland. Who am I? I played alongside Frank Lampard and Tommy Gravison. Been managed by Ari Redknapp. Became the assistant manager of the team I retired at. And although I won other trophies in my career, the only league title I won came in Scotland. Who am I?
That is extremely difficult, I think. But the beauty of it is, no matter how hard I think the who am I is, someone always gets it, and always gets it quite quickly. So get your thinking caps on, try and put the pieces of the jigsaw together, and send us a tweet at Clyde SSB. Any early ideas, Mark Wilson?
No,
Gordon
none.
Nothing at all.
Nothing working just now.
Okay. James Tavernier goes into the book. A foul. Jamie McGrath knocks it by him. Tavernier fouls him. Into the book he goes. What did you make of the half-time changes for Rangers?
I wouldn't have taken Ryan Jack off. I think this is a game for big hearts. And Scott Wright has. We all thought that he was going to Turkish football a few weeks ago. Ryan Jack always loves playing against his old club Aberdeen. I wouldn't have taken him out of the equation.
I'd be surprised if that's not a forced substitution.
Well, or it's just a more attacking one, isn't it? Scott Wright's come on.
Yeah, I know that, but I agree with Hugh. I think Ryan Jack's quite an important player for Rangers. I'd rather, no disrespect to Scott Wright, I can understand that they're looking for a bit more attacking, but I'd rather have Ryan Jack on. Ryan Jack scored a goal the other night as well. Let's not take that away from him. He can get into positions that will get you goals. He's a good player, Ryan Jack, in my opinion, against his old team there. So it may just be a tactical switch, as you say, Gordon, but
and then
I'd rather have Ryan Jack on the pitch.
The other one Hugh mentioned last night, Michael Beale was saying, neither Barisic or Yilmaz are both kind of flying physically. Mark Wilson, there's then the added complication that Barisic can't play in Europe, so are you trying to get him some minutes, or has Yilmaz been that bad, or is he struggling? There's a few factors there.
Yeah, find that a strange one as well. I find both changes strange. Maybe a bit more attacking. Maybe Barisic will provide what he does, going forward. He'll get more possession, be able to flip the ball in the box. Shows where Rangers are, that Scott Wright has now been turned to. Hugh's right. A couple of weeks ago he was on his way out of Rangers, and all of a sudden he's back in the fold, and he's the man that Michael Beale needs to perform and get them out of hole. It's all a bit strange at the minute, Rangers.
Well, let's be honest though, it's never an excuse. For instance, if it got really bad, it's not going to be enough to save Michael Beale from criticism.
No.
But you still can't get round the fact that is made worse by injuries. Scott Wright isn't on if Lawrence and Cantwell and Raskin and Matondo and Roof are fit and available. He's just not.
The problem that Michael Beale has, pending the outcome of this game, fans will discount injuries. The injury list is horrendous, absolutely horrendous, but fans will discount that, and they will say, well, those who were there were brought in by Michael Beale, and it's not good enough. And if he loses this game today, there's simply no other course of action. First call will be Beale out.
Out of all the injuries, so I think you touched on it earlier. Still a very strong team. Out of all the injuries, I think Raskin and Cantwell would obviously be in.
Signings in there.
Would be in.
Roof would play.
Well,
based on this season, Matondo would probably play.
Roof based on a couple of games, but Roof, I think, is a bonus that he was back.
I can't know, but come on, it's a squad game. If we're talking about Scott Wright coming on, and now there's still, those players would be there or thereabouts in the team. I'm not saying they're brilliant. No one mentioned that,
of course. But what the point?
Cantwell, Raskin, Lawrence, Matondo, and Roof.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot in one area of the pitch.
Oh, of course it's a lot, but what I'm saying is it's not as if they've been replaced by guys that have been in the youth team, and it's
but they've been replaced by guys that you thought were leaving. That was the whole point. It was a reply to the Scott Wright discussion.
Scott Wright, yeah, certainly in that respect. But the starting lineup today,
because you're trying to change this now.
Yeah. But the starting lineup today, it's still. If you had a fully fit squad, I think still a lot of those starting lineup would be in the starting lineup today.
But only because Rangers don't quite know their strongest starting lineup. If you were then looking to change it in game, just look at the bench. It speaks for itself.
Of course, no doubt. But I wouldn't say they are decimated with injuries, and it's a patch-up job.
I think Barisic.
Well, look, let's talk it. Lawrence hasn't played for a year or whatever, and he's came back.
There is an option, though. That's the point. If you've got 5 players that would be in your thoughts and they're not there.
Yeah, in your thoughts, but not certain starters. Surely Michael Beale has got a thought of what he's starting. Maybe 7 are.
Right, well, cup final tomorrow, and this is difficult because Rangers don't know their strongest starting 11, but Cantwell, Raskin and Roof are in it, right? So it's definitely 3. And based on the lack of consistency and impressive performances elsewhere, it might be Matondo. He's started some of the games, so you could be up at 4 and maybe even more.
But I guess my point is the goalkeeper, the back 4. He's got his full quota to pick from there, and he's made his choice with Yilmaz over Barisic and Davies over Suter, and he's got them on the bench, so that's strong. Ryan Jack, would Ryan Jack be in?
No.
If it was a cup final tomorrow against Celtic?
I don't think so.
I think he would be in with a shout. I think he might be. I think Cantwell and Raskin are a big miss. Apart from that, I think it's much of a muchness.
Who's Rangers' best striker though? It is Kamal Roof, isn't it?
But you're saying that from 2 games. I don't know.
If it's not, then who is?
I don't think they know who their best striker is.
I agree with that,
because you're looking at, look, would you like your strongest
Is there more
squad?
chance of it being Kamal Roof than Cyril Dessers? I suppose that's what I'm asking you.
Yes. I think right now it's more chance of me being better than Dessers.
That's all I'm asking. It's not a trick question.
But
I keep trying to evade it.
Lammers, no, nobody's trying to evade it. We're just pointing out
one of these
goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
St Johnstone 1, Livy 1. It's a Sean Kelly penalty. Mitov, who's been a brilliant signing for St Johnstone, actually made a really good save just before that. It was given. It was Liam Gordon on Joel Newbley. A bit needless. He's kind of running away from goal and trying to keep the ball in. It was checked. Liam Gordon is not happy at all, but it was given. Sean Kelly takes, and that's probably exactly what Livy needed here after a bruising week.
Resilience is alive and well. We'll see where this goes. I did think it would end in a draw, and I still think it will end in a draw. But Livy, fair play to them, lost 7 goals to Celtic and Rangers, and they've lost an 8th goal to St Johnstone, but they've come back, and now they're back in business. Now, to go back to your point about Rangers strikers, this comes back to Michael Beale's recruitment, because you're right, Kemar Roof, for me, far and away looks the best striker. I wouldn't like my future to depend on Dessers. I wouldn't like my future to depend on Sam Lammers. I wouldn't like my future to depend on Sima. But if I was in the trenches and I had Roof beside me, I would think I had a chance.
Oh, big let off for Rangers. Dessers gives the ball away at the side of the box. The cross comes in, then Mijovski heads against the post. He collides with the post and goes down injured. But my goodness, I think Ibrox would have erupted if that had gone in.
That's my worry. Get Dessers up the pitch. Centre forward.
Who was it against? Was it against Livingston? He did that as well. The wee flick round the corner, bit lazy, gives it away.
Get him up the pitch. Centre forwards can't defend. They're hopeless at it.
Wow, Hugh, that's not it's not the moments that Michael Beale is hoping for, because it means the fans are, the grumbles, the nervousness, the angst.
I mean, Andrew McLean has described it beautifully at half time, and as the minutes go by, the temperature will rise, and we'll go back to the fans being able to say to Michael Beale, Dessers, you bought him, you paid big money for this guy, your judgment is deeply suspect.
Alloa 0, Edinburgh City 1. Is that the team you've picked out of the 3?
Team. And do you know what rubs salt in the wind? Who has it scored?
It's Robbie Leach.
Related
Leach as well.
Yeah, related to you. And I gave him my golf clubs, and he's now let me down.
What do you mean you gave him your golf clubs?
My irons, when I was changing my irons.
I think he bought them off,
He bought them, yeah.
Oh, did he? Right, aye. Just because
I really gave them.
Anyway,
the £3 coins didn't go far.
We've had a day of sensational and unexpected excitement, and the width of the post has prevented Ibrox from going into meltdown, because if Mijovski scores and it's 2-0, it's over. But the post has saved Rangers.
Stenhousemuir 2, Clyde 1. Clyde pulling one back there. Doige and Obita on, Stevenson and Vente off. Does that surprise you that that's still goalless?
Very much so. Yeah, I thought that things were bubbling away at Easter Road. Goals are being scored. All of a sudden, the Lee Johnson days are a thing of the past, and Nick Montgomery's the best thing to come out of Australia since Ange Postecoglou, etc, etc, etc. I thought they were a stick-on to score goals and win today.
Having said that, have we overlooked the fact that Dundee have actually taken to the top flight perfectly fine? The last couple of times maybe they've come up and it's just not been good enough. But Mark, they've shown that they're perfectly sort of in line with most of the teams in the league, based on what we've seen so far.
Yeah, well, good recruitment. Players that are, or a good mix, should I say. They've got some youth in there, but players that can get a job done. But good manager, Tony Docherty's been about. He's been an assistant for many a year. Knows that league inside out, and a terrific coach. And he's got them well drilled. Good win against Hearts. Was that about 3 or 4 weeks ago? And then a draw last week, and then today. Holding their own.
Not many goals today. I'm surprised with that. I thought we'd have got a lot of goal mouth action, a lot of finger on that buzzer, Gordon, but it's been very quiet.
Yeah, we've got
very subdued.
Not down the leagues.
We're looking at the big league here.
I'm a man of all leagues.
Free kick to Rangers in what can be known as James Tavernier territory. It might even be that old, what's the saying about it being too close?
Too close.
Get that?
Get up and down.
John Lundstrom is fouled, and you'd have to assume that James Tavernier will try his luck. No, I'm not sure it is too close. Edge of the D, left of centre, sounds ideal.
Tavernier
for James Tavernier
territory then. Could we describe it? Oh, did you? Oh, sorry. Wow. My apologies. I'm copying your work.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what comes of this one. De Lucas for Parks for Livy. Tony Watt scored again. Dundee United 3, Queen's Park 1. That podcast is working wonders there for him. Anything else doing at the moment? Not yet. So don't forget, the open line will be here when these games finish. So we'll be looking for you to get your thoughts in. Rangers fans, Celtic fans. Justin Rose and Bob McIntyre go 3 up after 14 against Thomas and Spieth. So that one should. And there's a late resurgence in one of the other matches that looked like the USA were going to run away with it, but Tommy Fleetwood is hanging on in there, and hopefully a wee shock over the last 2 holes in that game. Over the bar from James Tavernier. So there we go.
Well,
yeah, too close.
When you said that the free kick Tavernier, I thought it's been a day of twists of fate. Fir Park will not be matched today for the twists and turns of fate that took place there, but with Aberdeen hitting the post, just missing out the chance to make it 2-0, you wondered, Tavernier over the ball, is that the script? But is it the way of the day for Rangers?
It certainly so far looks that way, Hugh. But look, I heard Brendan Rodgers talking about Celtic and how they keep going, they're patient, and they eventually run out winners. Rangers were built in the same. They've got to be the same. But I've got to say, looking at Rangers' side, I don't know where the goals are coming from.
I'm going to get back to that in a minute with a suggestion I want your thoughts on. But on the teaser, Hugh, can we check in there, please?
Yep.
Forgot about that.
Here we go. I have played alongside Frank Lampard and Thomas Grabison. I've been managed by Harry Redknapp. I became the assistant manager of the team I retired at. Although I won other trophies in my career, the only league title I won came in Scotland. Who am I?
I'm going to have a go at this.
Jill Valentine thinks it might be Yuri Jarosik.
Oh, it's not.
Loads of people saying Yuri Jarosik. John I thinks Magnus Hedman.
Nope.
And a good few people, Stephen and Barry and others, saying Duncan Ferguson.
No.
Show me your paper, Gordon Dalziel. It's not him either.
Who do you have?
Defoe.
Oh.
But
okay,
Mark Wilson, forget all that. The big news.
Yes, big news.
The breaking
The
news
underwear is here.
Cases have been delivered.
The
suitcases are back. New scants tomorrow. Here we come.
Size 14s have arrived. XLs.
Oh, thank goodness for
XLs are
that.
in the washing machine as we speak.
Yeah. Magic. Oh, what a relief, eh?
Well, especially for you.
It was a
You
shame
all
because
laughed at me.
all the 3 Rolexes I was going to claim for as well. Just as well for British Airways it came.
No Johnston baby powder. Oh,
You all laughed at me when my suitcase didn't come back from Italy.
Yeah.
Have some of your own medicine now. Take that.
His luggage had gone missing, so he's had some major rants. He's running out of t-shirts and already out of scants. Dazzler wants to help him, so he brought in his old spares, but he laid them out for viewing. Now they're stuck to all the chairs. We move on very, very quickly and go back to the football, where Ibrox is not a happy place. It was good play by Dessers, beat McKenzie to the ball. Then he takes a heavy touch, fouls Graham Shinney, and Ibrox is not best pleased.
Well, such is the nature of these occasions that with every passing minute, the temperature goes up and up and up, because Rangers require two goals to win the match, and what are they, 65 minutes or so into the game, and they're still a goal down, and Dessers not having a good day at all. So it's understandable that Ibrox is becoming more and more tetchy.
You just on that, right? I don't know if this substitution, does it really kill Cyril Dessers then? But ultimately, it's a squad game. Rangers are where they are. Is there anything to be lost at this point by saying to Zach Lovelace, for instance, on the bench, go and give that a go?
You're absolutely correct.
Go and be a hero, because it's not working. Cyril Dessers, yes, we paid money, blah blah blah. You deal with that down the line.
I think it's an easier environment for a young player to go into that. You've got nothing to lose, and there you are, you're thrust into the limelight. A caller suggested something along similar lines the other night as well, that it's clearly not working. And listen, to start a game with a youngster, a big game against Aberdeen is a push, but when it's like this and you see the crowd turning on Dessers and hugely frustrated, then I think it would give everyone a lift in the ground.
Brendan Rodgers took off Kyogo, the icon of Celtic Park. Reo Hatate, new contract signed yesterday, everybody very happy. And Dalziel Maeda, who last week scores the best goal of the season for Celtic and is described as doing the work of two men by Brendan Rodgers. He takes all three off at the same time, throws on Turnbull and Lewis Palmer.
That's a big difference here.
And Palmer scores the goal that puts Celtic in front and kicks off the mayhem.
For me, it's completely different. I'll tell you the reason why. Kyogo, Maeda, these guys that you're talking about, they produce week in, week out. They're scoring goals, they're scoring big goals. Dessers has not done anything at Ibrox. He needs to step up.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Breakthrough in Dingwall, and it's a goal for Hearts. It was a cross into the box initially. It looks like Alan Forrest who's converted. It's been quite a quiet game, that one up north, but finally Ross County 0, Hearts 1.
Well, Alan Forrest doing what his brother James couldn't do. James Forrest, having had an outstanding chance to score at Motherwell, doesn't. But Alan Forrest puts Hearts in front, and Stevie Naismith needs some kind of momentum to build up. He won at Kilmarnock. He's in the semi-finals of the Viaplay Cup. If he gets all 3 points today, it's another feather in his cap, because next weekend, showdown time. Hearts versus Hibs. Stevie Naismith versus Nick Montgomery. He needs that result today, Stevie Naismith, I think, to go into that game with some semblance of momentum about Hearts.
Totally agree with that, because a couple of weeks ago wasn't looking good for him.
Goal Ibrox.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 0, Aberdeen 2. Jamie McGrath, the ball bouncing around the box. Boos ring out across the stands at Ibrox, because Aberdeen have doubled their advantage and Rangers are in big trouble with about 20 minutes to go.
The manager will find it difficult to hold on to his job. Rangers have to go to Cyprus to play Limassol in the Europa League in midweek. Then they are away to St Mirren and Paisley before the international break. As things stand, Celtic will be 7 points in front of Rangers after 7 games. For our callers tonight, that will be a bridge too far. The board may say, let's give this to the international break, but he would have to beat St Mirren to have a chance of holding on to his job, I think.
Well, it's certainly not good news for Michael Beale, you've got to say. I keep saying that sacking managers is very, very easy, but you come under severe pressure from the supporters, and there's a massive amount of supporters now have went against Michael Beale.
However, the restart has been delayed. Let's wait. Oh no, let's play on. Let's play on
Play
now.
on.
Let's wait and see, right? Let's wait and see what the end of this game brings. But one thing is for sure, this needs to be a mega response from Rangers.
It's make or break for your season. If Rangers come back and it doesn't look or sound like they're ever going to come back in this game, then it's enough to galvanise you and get the crowd back inside, and sometimes winning a game like that can be better than anything. But it seems very unlikely at this time, and Michael Beale is in a lot of bother.
I don't think they have a major comeback in them, Gordon. I don't think they have the players to carry out a major comeback. And of all the ironies, the one signing that has been the outstanding success for Michael Beale, the goalkeeper Jack Butland, he's not been able to help him today.
Sorry, Hugh, I thought you'd finished. They're a little bit like a team that they look at each other to say who's going to do something here.
Yeah.
In the days gone by, and you talk about great Rangers players, they would have grabbed people with the scruff of the collar and said, look, we are up against it, we need to show a fighting spirit. Same with Celtic. That's what it was all about. I look at that Rangers team and I don't see one player in it that's capable of doing that.
Red card at Ibrox, and it's for Scott Wright. He is just on, and it's a second yellow as well. It's not even a straight red. It is going from bad to worse for Rangers. Scott Wright has been shown a second yellow, so there will be no VAR reprieve. That's not allowed, or it's not applicable for second yellows. And off he goes. Rangers down to 10 and 2 goals down.
These are all the hallmarks of crisis. This is what happens to you when you're in crisis. You've lost a goal in each half. You are under the cosh because of so many injuries which you cannot legislate for, and now you're having players sent off, and your chances are diminishing by the minute. So I think we're already talking about what's Rangers' strategy now. The manager, fans will want him out tonight. You have to be realistic. The fans will want him out tonight, but it's now about the Rangers board, about James Bisgrove, about those who plan ahead, and Rangers will go to Limassol. I think Rangers will go to Limassol with Michael Beale still in charge, and he'll take charge against St Mirren and Paisley.
I think
he has to win there.
I think you might find that there'll be a large portion of Rangers supporters sitting in the house before this game finishes.
Yeah.
I think Ibrox will empty.
The phone lines are lighting up already.
Yeah.
Now, we will speak to you as soon as the games end. If you want to get your calls in, you can do 01419511025. And I expect them to be even livelier when the full-time whistle does go. So that's the number you need, Rangers fans, if you want to. Right now, there are two real options. You'll either be on to vent your anger, frustration and disappointment, or you'll be on to talk about a miraculous comeback, because we're now in that territory, Hugh. If there is going to be one, it will be miraculous.
Exactly, but they don't have a comeback in them.
It certainly doesn't look like it.
And the fans, to a man, woman and child, will want a managerial change. I could not see anyone coming on tonight with a case for the defence, either the one that was on the park or a case for the defence of the manager, because this is crisis time. 7 points behind Celtic, 7 games played, and the fans have bemoaned the team all season long, since losing at Kilmarnock on day one, losing to Celtic at Ibrox when Celtic had half a team, and this, for I think the vast majority of the Rangers fans, is the final straw.
Yeah, because the nature of this, it's been so bad up until now, and Rangers go 2 down, and Scott Wright, Rangers fans aren't even necessarily wanting him to come on, which is no disrespect to him. I think it's just the kind of overall picture. I'm not even sure we'll get many complaints about the sending off. Sometimes that gets kind of used as
no,
a reason.
They'll blame Scott Wright rather than look at it as an excuse to help Rangers.
I don't even think they'll blame Scott Wright. I think it's too far gone for
that's
them.
kind of what I meant.
I think they'll be more interested in what's happening. You look at this Rangers side, and you're judged on signings, and the signings have been dreadful for me. I keep saying, look, give them a chance, give them a chance. But how long do you keep saying this? A year ago, is it a year or so ago, Michael Beale came into the job. He was lauded into Ibrox as the best thing since sliced bread. He was going to bring this new brand of football. I always said give him his transfer window in the summer, because that's important. There was a big change in the guard. But if you're a Rangers fan, you're going along there, you're short-changed just now. Some of those players are not good enough.
Do you know what's funny is the phone lines are genuinely lighting up just now with football fans wanting to have their say. Apart from one guy who just phoned in to say, tell Mark Wilson I once lost my suitcase for a year.
A year?
That's it,
no,
Same clobber for a year.
I get a text here saying the guy that delivered my cases was listening to us on the radio and was laughing. So thank you. You're still listening. Thanks.
But they're no yours.
Our Rolex could still be missing actually.
Rangers are in disarray. There's a free kick from Leighton Clarkson. Dessers puts it out for a corner. Rangers then dally on the ball, concede another corner. Rubizic header straight at Butland. It's getting worse and fast.
Well, you know, a third goal would empty the place, but it's gone anyway. I think the game has gone, and we are now dealing with the repercussions. Rangers won't come back from 2-0 down. There is absolutely no indication that they will be able to come back. It's now the job of the chairman and the chief exec to decide what their strategy is.
Goal Ibrox.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it is for Rangers. 10-man Rangers have a lifeline courtesy of Abdullah Sima. Rangers were 2 down to 10 men. It was heading for defeat, and it still might be, but there are signs of life from the hosts. Close range finish from Sima, and it is game on.
Wow. I didn't see that coming, and those who have already left the stadium won't have seen it because they're outside in the street. But what a finale it sets up. You know, Michael Beale would take a draw, happily take a draw now, because it's better than the alternative. So I didn't see it coming, but Sima has done him a real favour.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a close range finish. A real bit of a mess, really. The restart's delayed on that one though, because I think Kellaroos feels like he was fouled. We had a good discussion earlier about goalkeepers and how much protection they get, but the goal has been given, that one, and it does stand. So Rangers are back in it. They've got in fact they've actually got quite a while, still 15 minutes of the 90. I know they're down to 10. Surely you can throw everything at this.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if Aberdeen don't walk out here with 3 points, the Aberdeen fans will be turning on Barry Robson. But great response from Rangers. Can they bail them out? You're right, Gordon. I think Michael Beale would snatch her hand off for a point just now.
Barry Robson will be frustrated because Kellaroos, a very good goalkeeper for Aberdeen, he tries to punch it and misses. It's a bit of a goalkeeping error under pressure, and simple finish for Sima.
Wonder how he'll approach this last period, Barry Robson, if he'll get his team to sit back, because by all accounts just before the goal, you were saying there, Gordon, there was panic in the Rangers box. It could have been 3, but what a lifeline this is for Michael Beale.
You cannot sit back if you're Aberdeen. If you're Aberdeen and you sit back,
I guarantee they'll sit back.
You shouldn't be in that dugout. You look last week at Celtic when Brendan Rodgers down to 10 men, 2 up top, away you go. Livingston sat that far back, didn't use their advantage of their 11v10, and Celtic comfortably beat them and should have scored more. You're Barry Robson, you've got the best chance in the world of beating Rangers this afternoon. 10 men, 2-1 up. You have got to go for it and get at them.
Yeah, especially with the 10 men, you'd have to think
100%.
so.
Big Dunk might be getting at his side. It looks 3-2.
Oh no.
Well, I did say they'd get a new manager bounce. I didn't say it would last all game.
Come on, Dick.
It's 3-2 to Inverness there in Arbroath. The comeback.
What a game that is,
very much.
Yeah.
Well, this might be your answer.
It's easy, peeps.
They're going to stretch it a bit or go for it or whatever the expression is. Duke and Johnny Hayes are getting ready.
Pace to stretch
Aberdeen.
a game.
Bit of pace.
Yeah, good move that, I think.
Well, on paper, we'll see.
On paper, yeah. I would take Miofsky off. He's ran his race and get Duke up there to stretch the game.
Well, I thought nothing would beat the finish to Fir Park, but what a finale we could have here. And what a day of excitement from Celtic and Rangers.
It could be a big turning point in the fact that if Rangers could, you know, it's amazing fine lines in football. I think a lot of Celtic supporters may have come on and had a wee moan at Brendan Rodgers this afternoon if that they stayed 1-1.
For sure.
All of a sudden, Matt O'Reilly, bang, goal. Everything's rosy in the garden. Guaranteed, Hugh's right. We would have been inundated with calls about Michael Beale if they lose this. If they draw, then all of a sudden that could just. Look, I'm not saying it's got to change a lot of minds, but it would certainly help Michael Beale.
Oh, I don't know.
No?
I think a draw would still be met with a fair
With
bit
10 men, 2-0 down.
Doesn't really matter though, does it?
I know they'll be disappointed, and
they'll only look at the final result. And you know, nothing other than a win. Because a win, you're now in hero territory. If you manage to get a win with 10 men having been 2 down, that's astonishing. And that changes the whole, can I say the word? Narrative.
Well, Rangers are trailing. They've got work to do. Miovski and Polvara go off for Aberdeen. Johnny Hayes and Duke coming on. There's a VAR check for a red card for Livy. We think Jason Holt, so we'll see what the outcome of that is. A bit more of a defensive substitution for Dundee. Finlay Robertson on for Zach Rudden. 8 minutes to go. It looks like Dundee are happy with the point in that one. You wouldn't grudge them that, going to Easter Road. So we'll see what the finale has. I'll tell you what, will we round off the teaser just to clear room for any late drama that we do get?
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Frank Lampard and Thomas Gravison. I've been managed by Harry Redknapp. I became the assistant manager of the team I retired at. Although I won other trophies in my career, the only league title I won came in Scotland. I am Mark Reaper.
I never got that.
Mark,
not a chance.
Reaper. Sorry, just a bit of a confusion. It was actually for a previous incident. So it was Liam Gordon for St Johnstone has been sent off. Poor Jason Holt's nothing to do with it, right? So Liam Gordon for Livy sent off. Well done. If you got Mark Reaper, I have to say, none of you two take it anywhere.
Who's the assistant manager at?
I don't know. It's Celtic after he retired.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Huh?
Was he?
Mark Reaper?
In the year 2000.
Who told you that?
According to producer Michael, anyway.
This man here's a Celtic legend, didn't even know
that.
Under
who? Martin O'Neill in the year 2000?
Not a chance.
Hold on, Michael.
Anyway, he's the answer.
He's flapping.
Excuse me.
He's flapping.
Was he?
Michael Donati on Twitter got that right after 8 seconds.
Nah.
Wow.
8 seconds after we posted the tweet.
Producer Michael, what's your second name? It's not Donati by any chance, is it?
Second place was I've done it in the wrong order, but PB McVitie takes the biscuit in second place, and Scott McFarlane was third fastest. So lots of people went for Mark Reaper.
He played with Lampard as well.
There we go. At West Ham.
West Ham.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Good question. That was difficult.
Assistant manager is a question.
I think what we've got to clear up, Mark Wilson, is that just because you don't know it doesn't mean that it's wrong.
I know.
This man knows everything about Celtic.
Apparently not.
I'll go with you,
I
Mark.
didn't think he was assistant manager in
To
2000.
No, Mark Reaper's managerial career on his Wikipedia page, year 2000, Celtic assistant. There we go.
Was Martin O'Neill manager then? Yeah.
2000, that's when Martin came.
Aye.
Right. John Robertson and
Mark Reaper.
No, the other lad. What do you call him?
Who was before him?
I was
John Barnes.
Wall.
John Barnes. Aye, he was assistant to John Barnes.
Oh, was it John Barnes?
Aye.
Zach Lovelace is going to come on for Rangers. We mentioned
Well,
him earlier.
story this would be if he grabs a goal.
As I say, the bugle is blowing, the sirens are wailing. It's the manager's job.
But
you've
got to wonder, Hugh, why it's taking this length of time for the manager to look at who he's got in the pitch just now and think they can still get me something, and I'm going to keep this young lad on the bench until the last 10 minutes. Surely you realise by now you're getting very little from Dessers or Lammers or the rest of them that's on there.
I'm with you all the way, right? But as a manager, It's a bit of a difficult one because you're needing a goal, you're struggling, you're taking off all your summer signings, you put all your hope on. You know, they've not done anything. You're thinking, I'm crossing my fingers, can they produce something? Can they just give me something here? I brought them in great faith. I brought them in because I thought they could dig me out of holes and take me the next step forward. So slightly understandable, but great to see a young lad going to get an opportunity, and he could come on, make his an instant hero.
Yeah, Desser's off and doesn't get a great reception from the Rangers fans, which is just, it's a tough, a bit lonely place out there, I'd imagine.
I don't like that, right? Because it's poor for the player, and the player doesn't go out there to intentionally play poorly. But again, the fans are frustrated. They're pointing the finger at these summer signings.
Mark, I said the other night there, Dessers is not, in my opinion, good enough to play at Rangers, right? That doesn't mean to say he's a bad player. He could go to another club and fit in brilliantly.
Goal at Ibrox. Which way has it gone?
With M&D Green Pharmacy.
It has gone the way of Aberdeen, and it is Jack McKenzie who's put the gloss on it, surely, against the 10 men. Rangers 1, Aberdeen 3, and Ibrox is not a happy place. Hugh Keevins.
Ibrox will be emptying, and those who stay are staying to loudly make their views known. It's a rerun of Fir Park earlier on today, where you think at 2-1 and Zach Lovelace coming on, could there be the grand finish here? And then before he can touch the ball, Aberdeen extend their lead, and this will push the Rangers fans over the edge.
Well done, Barry Robson.
Absolutely
brave. You know, he got his tactics spot on. We were discussing it in the first half, how they couldn't get out, but he knew what he was doing, and he got a goal just before half time. He gets another one, and then he's brave enough to make the change that's a positive change, not hanging on for anything, and they get the third goal. So credit goes to him. You just wonder what the fallout's going to be for Michael Beale.
Well, that's it. I think we can now say that Rangers will not win or draw this match. So now it's about the strategy. It's about whether the chairman would care to come out tonight and say we stand by the manager, or whether Rangers say we'll let this go until the St Mirren game, and then there's the international break, which, if you remember, is the way that Giovanni Van Bronckhorst was put out of Ibrox and Michael Beale come in.
Oh, checking though for a possible offside now in that game.
Fir Park all over again.
VAR makes mockeries of radio shows like this because you're waiting for ages.
Yeah, we are reactive, and we'd be as well just staying silent.
Give two sides of the story and then play one out. Great goal from Aberdeen. Well, I'll tell you what, Rangers got
a positive change for Michael Beale. Could still be in
a job.
I think part of the difficulty here, it was an extremely messy build-up, so there's lots of kind of touches and phases and all the rest of it, and you're, I guess, trying to sift through and make sure there was no offence committed at any stage. The goal stands.
Okay, back to normal.
It's now about the strategy. It's about whether the chairman and his directors and his chief exec are of a mind to support the manager, to show tolerance, to accept that injuries have cast a real shadow over the team, or you cannot deny the fans. When the fans start to visibly and audibly get angry and agitated, the board can't ignore that.
Ibrox is emptying. We're here for you. Give us a call, 01419511025. How does it feel having witnessed that today, Rangers fans? Let us know right now, and the open line will be upon us very soon indeed. But Rangers are trailing 3-1 at home to Aberdeen, and Gordon Dalziel, I said it earlier, Michael Beale spoke about the defensive solidity yesterday. Yes, they have gone down to 10 men, but this has not been one of those really tight games where the opposition manages to nick one and then parks everything. Conceded 3 times at home to Aberdeen.
Yeah, and 2 of the goals, I'm right to say, Gordon, really came from set plays, corners. Then the second phase, and Rangers didn't clear it, and they get punished. Yes, when the sending off go down to 10 men, it does become difficult. But Celtic showed last week, if you're positive and you've got good enough players, you can still go and win games with 10 men. It's not been good enough. Let's be honest. Michael Beale has not taken Rangers forward the way that Rangers fans thought he was going to do. Van Bronckhorst was put out the building. To me, Michael Beale's taking them backwards. Right? I'm not here saying that go and sack him, right? Because I think it's very easy just to go and sack managers all the time. But the Rangers fans will not accept it.
Just as an aside, maybe one for Monday's show, I could scarcely believe my eyes there. Andy Halliday not only on for the last 17 minutes for Hearts, he's been booked. That's a bit more like it, but I didn't think he was getting any involvement these days. There we go. Right, 5 minutes added in Dingwall, 7 added at McDermott Park. Will we get a winner there? 5 added at Rugby Park. Similar story there. There could be late drama. Just suspect we've had it all at Ibrox.
Yeah. There does come a point where there's no point in kidding yourself on, and at 3-1 it's over, and the stadium has emptied because the people who are walking out know it's over. So Aberdeen will win the match, and it's all about what happens inside Ibrox now, in the corridors of power as they are known. It's all about what the board, wish to do about Michael Beale.
Partick Thistle have won 3-0 at home to Dunfermline. That's a very good afternoon's work there. Graham, McInroy and Robinson with the goals. The Jags celebrating all 3 points in that one. There are loads of big games down in divisions today. You can see full-time whistles going. The Spartans 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 2. Full-time Easter Road, Fraser Wishart.
It's full time. Gordon Hibernian 0, Dundee 0. No goals, but as good a 0-0 as you will see. It was an open game from start to finish. Hibs having the better of the game, but they couldn't capitalise, and the best chances fell to the wrong players. Was centre backs Fish and Hanlon really involved, but Dundee were really dangerous on the break, and a couple of really good David Marshall saves kept this at 0-0. No goal in the first half. Open game, both teams missing chances. Dundee first to threaten McCowan with an outswinger, powerful Zach Rudden header, good diving save by Marshall, then a Fish clearance hit Bakayako and Balloon just over the bar with Marshall beaten. From his point of view, the threat came from the centre backs. A Fish flick was headed goalward by Vente, Carson off his line to spread himself and get a touch to the ball. Then a Fish header's good off him in Bakayoko, and Hanlon a couple of headers go close, one saved by Carson. The game really needed a goal, and Dundee were first to show in the second half. Lovely passing move, McCowan fed Rudden, the striker got a yard and he shot from 16 yards, aimed to the top corner, inches wide, with Marshall just standing watching the ball as it went into the stand. Then it was all Hibs, Ewan causing problems all day. His cut back hit Lyle Cameron and Balloon just inches over the bar before Boyle and Vente were just waiting to pounce. A lovely touch by Vente, then set up Boyle, free in the box. The winger's low shot turned away by Carson. Then a Dens Park keeper saved again. Similar effort from Ewan, low shot from 16 yards before again Carson pushed away a Vente header. But as the game wore on, Dundee began to sit in a bit more, happy with the point. Nick Montgomery threw on Doige, Tavares and Obita to try and get the winner. Fish again came close, had his head in his hands after heading a Boyle corner over from 6 yards. He should have done better. Carson then saved again from Hanlon effort, this time low to his left hand post, but Hibs had to be very careful. Dundee still dangerous on the occasional break, and a brilliant break down the right hand side from Luke McCowan. He held off Boyle, lovely pass to sub Howley with his first touch of the ball. His low cross was met sweetly by left wing back Owen Beck from 12 yards. He couldn't have hit it better, and a brilliant diving save to his right for David Marshall. And there was still time for Hibs to miss yet another chance. This time you thought it had to be a goal. Ewan made ground on the right hand side, lovely cut back to Boyle, 14 yards out. You'd expect him to score, but he scuffed his shot and it trickled wide of the post. Hibs though still unbeaten under Nick Montgomery. Positive signs for the fans. I thought they played really well, but Dundee defended well, quick on the break, very dangerous. I think they're settled in really well to the Premiership, and they were delighted with this point. Full time at Easter Road, Hibernian 0, Dundee 0.
A share of the spoils then, no drama either way. Everyone takes that result on the chin and moves on. That will not be the case at Ibrox unless something beyond miraculous happens. It looks like that has passed Rangers by. They're on their way to a defeat at home. Give us a call. It's full time in Dingwall. Dave Galloway.
Yeah, it's full time. Ross County 0, Hearts 1. Hearts started well. They dominated the first half, carved out a right good few chances, but just couldn't take them. Stephen Kingsley shot over from 8 yards when the ball fell for him. He had a 20-yard free kick as well that he hit straight into the wall. Aidan Denham drove forward, but he blazed well over the bar, and George Grant tested Ross Laidlaw with a low, well-struck drive, which was parried by the keeper. Ross County, in contrast, were creating very little indeed. Late in the first half, Hearts almost scored the opener. Lovely turn in the edge of the box by Lawrence Shankland, and he curled one just over the crossbar. County brought on Ian Murray and Eamon Brophy for Alex Samuel and Jordan White at half-time, but the visitors continued to hold the upper hand. Stephen Kingsley sent the ball right across the goal mouth. However, George Grant and Kenneth Vargas, well, neither of them could make any connection. The deadlock was finally broken on 70 minutes, and it was made and created by Jambo's subs. Nice cross in from Alex Lowry, and Alan Forrest headed home. Ross County tried to hit back. Jack Baldwin saw a looping header touched over the bar by the Hearts keeper Xander Clark. Hearts almost scored a second on the break. Good work by Liam Boyce to set up Alex Lowry. His shot was turned behind by Ross Laidlaw. In injury time, it would have been against the run of play. Certainly, Eamon Brophy, he really had to score an equaliser. The loose ball fell to him, but he could only hit the ball into the ground and over the bar. All in all, a deserved win for the Jam Tarts, and their big support can go back down the road to Edinburgh very happy. Job done for them. Ross County 0, Hearts 1.
Still not getting any better at Ibrox. It's nearly done. Give us a call, but it is finished in Kilmarnock. Roger Hannah.
It is Kilmarnock 1, St Mirren 1. A deserved share of the spoils down in the Ayrshire. A fifth straight Rugby Park draw between these two teams. St Mirren stay second. They stay unbeaten in the Premiership this season, and they stretch their advantage over Rangers in second place behind leader Celtic. Kilmarnock, they are still 8th after blowing an early lead. Most of the action in a congested first half. Kelly thought they had a penalty. Skipper Kel Vassell's shot hitting Ryan Strain in the arm. There was a VAR check, but the VAR official Alan Muir told referee Chris Graham to play on. Kelly did get a winner in 19 minutes. Brad Lyons going up for a header with the St Mirren goalkeeper Zach Hemming. Hemming should have done much better, but Lyons won it and headed it into the empty net. It could have been two. Matty Kennedy, a really good run and shot from the left, deflected just wide of the far post, but St Mirren get a foothold and an equaliser in 31 minutes. Scott Tanzer down the left fizzed the ball into the 6-yard box, and Kyle McGuinness, the former St Mirren midfielder, got into a terrible fankle at the back post and knocked the ball into his own net for 1-1. It got worse for McGuinness. He hobbled off moments later to be replaced by David Watson. Double chance for St Mirren just before the break. Keanu Bacchus and Greg Kilty both seeing shots blocked in the box as they tried to give Stephen Robinson's men the lead. Second half, both teams really cancelled each other out. Dan Armstrong had a cross-come shot fizzed across the 6-yard box and just wide of the post. Saints lost Conor McMenamin into injury. Both managers sent on strikers in a desperate bid to break the stalemate. Strain was booked by referee Graham for diving in the box midway through the half, and the best chance came as the game went into 5 minutes of stoppage time. Vassell breaking forward, laying the ball into the path of substitute Liam Polworth, but he skied it when he should have hit the target. It's finished Kilmarnock 1, St Mirren 1.
Finished St Johnstone, Livy, David Friel.
Full time, Gordon St Johnstone 1, Livingston 1. Sean Kelly's penalty secured a point for Livingston, and St Johnstone's search for that first league win of the season continues. Dara Costello gave them a half-time lead, but Saints didn't really build in that. Livy boss Davy Martindale changed his system for the second period. He got his rewards. Kelly's spot kick level was deserves. A day to forget for Saints captain Liam Gordon. He gave away the penalty and was then sent off late on in the game. St Johnstone started better. They deserved the lead as Costello scored in 36 minutes. Dan Phillips claimed the assist. Great pass through the middle, and Costello finished really well. Livy were pretty shambolic in the first half, but credit to David Martindale. He changed their 3-5-2 formation at the break, and it really paid off. Livingston were much better. Gordon caught Newbley for the penalty kick. Kelly sent Neatov the wrong way from the spot in 57 minutes. Livingston could have won it. Ayo Obel had a great chance at the back post, but he missed with a header. Gordon's late red card for a foul on Newbley capped another disappointing day for St Johnstone. They are still looking for that first win of the season. Full time, St Johnstone 1, Livingston 1.
And full time at Ibrox is coming next. Get your calls in.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
100 minutes gone at Ibrox, and it is still Rangers 1, Aberdeen 3. As soon as that whistle goes, we're going to cross there. I was expecting big boos. The only problem might be I'm not sure there's enough fans left to make a noise, Hugh Keevins, which tells its own story.
But the only reason they've stayed is to boo. So it's been an awful day. I think the Rangers board will have to meet after the game to decide what happens now, because the fans are in uproar, and Rangers go to Limassol to play Europa League football midweek. Is Michael Beale going with them? My guess, and I state personal guess, is he will go, but St Mirren, unless he won convincingly at St Mirren, they might be lucky to hold on to his job.
Rangers fans, what do you think though? You've spent years disagreeing with this man. Don't stop now. Or do you want to do the unthinkable and agree with him? 01419511025. A late chance for Sima. Roos smothers it, and he's now down getting treatment. Come on, Keller Roos, you've won anyway. We can wrap this up.
Come on.
For the purposes of the phone in, it does actually look like a sore one as I remove my tongue from my cheek. But anyway, we're well beyond the 100 minutes.
Bad thing for Rangers fans as well. It could have been worse. You know, you remember Miovski hitting the post. There was a couple of other chances for Aberdeen, so it's not like a smash and grab job from Aberdeen. They've thoroughly deserved this win.
I think it's been coming. This day's been coming. I think the Rangers fans constantly on this show have not been happy. There's no support of the manager. And this sort of result has just been lingering away. Look,
and that's it, isn't it? That's why, look, I've no problem ever with people being positive about their team. But for some of the fans who phoned in this week and said, what's all the problem? If we win ugly 1-0 every week, we'll win the treble. Yeah, but this is what was round the corner. That's the point.
Yeah, and with guys on the phone, Rangers supporters, astonished me. He was saying, look, I won't be back inside Ibrox until the manager's removed. They backed him so much in the summer. I think his biggest problem is Rangers fans are looking at these signings and thinking, where did these guys come from? Now, I'm not going to sit here and criticise football players because we've all been there.
Well, that's what you're here for.
No. I'm going to say that they're not a fit for Rangers Football Club. They could go elsewhere and fit in perfectly well. They're not a fit, and they're not going to take Rangers where Michael Beale and Rangers supporters want to go.
0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line. The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with lookers.co.uk. With over 140 dealerships across the UK, it's the place to find new and used cars and vans.
Looking to get car or van insurance double quick? To mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. Car or van, work or play. Compare insurance with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with lookers.co.uk. With over 140 dealerships across the UK, it's the place to find new and used cars and vans. After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
100 minutes gone. Full time at Ibrox. Andrew McLean.
Rangers 1, Aberdeen 3, the full-time score at Ibrox, and the Rangers supporters that are left in this ground at the moment are making their feelings known. They are not happy. It is another defeat, more drop points. Michael Beale shakes the hands of the Aberdeen staff and then heads straight down the tunnel. And really, the Rangers fans, they have let this team know, they have let Michael Beale know that they are not happy with what they are seeing. It is a dark day for them at Ibrox. Michael Beale was under enough pressure as it was, but this will really ramp up another notch or two. And it was the start from Rangers that was actually okay in this game. They had all of the ball, they created some chances, just not enough of them were clear enough. The best chance came for Cyril Dessers, who really should have done better. His close range header was straight at Kel Roos, who beat it away. That possession in territory though counts for nothing if you don't score, and Rangers found that out the hard way. Aberdeen with the pressure from set pieces later on in the half. They took the lead 38 minutes in. Leighton Clarkson with the corner, it went over everyone, and it was Stefan Gartenmann who got away from Cifuentes at the back post, slid in and sent the travelling fans absolutely wild. The travelling fans at the moment are celebrating with the players who are over in that corner with them. There was a couple of changes for Rangers at half time. Borna Barisic, Scott Wright coming on. They had a couple of early openings, but once again frustrating this Rangers crowd. Aberdeen then with a big warning sign. Cyril Dessers with slack play at the back. That allowed Aberdeen to get a cross in, and Miovski headed off the back post. Tension was rising in here. The last things the fan needed to see was another Aberdeen goal, and that came all a bit scrappy, and it was eventually Jamie McGrath with the strike as the boos ramped up around Ibrox. Then it got even worse. Half-time substitute Scott Wright given his marching orders after picking up a second yellow card. You'd think Aberdeen would then kick on, but a glimmer of hope for Rangers. Kelroos messing up as he came for a punch. The ball landed at the feet of Abdallah Sima, who tapped in for 2-1. But Aberdeen didn't sit back. They wanted that third goal and got it 86 minutes in. An initial shot was blocked by Borna Barisic, then a good save by Jack Butland, but third time lucky for Aberdeen. Jack McKenzie off the underside of the bar. The corner of Aberdeen fans in raptures. Many of the Rangers fans that remained at that point headed for the exits, and I look out at the pitch at the moment, the contrasting emotions. The Aberdeen fans are the Aberdeen players over at their fans, all celebrating together. The Rangers players, some of them, a handful of them, have walked over towards where the supporters group, the Union Bears, are, because that's the fullest section of the ground still. And they're applauding, they're putting their hands up in apology. They're being met with boos from all sides of the stadium, from the very few Rangers fans that are left. The players walking with their heads down. Cyril Dessers, Borna Barisic. I'm actually looking at John Lundstrom at the moment, who's sort of tapping his chest and putting his two hands up in apology, because they can see just how angry these fans are. They're shouting for Michael Beale to go. Many of the fans around me, it is toxic inside here at Ibrox. The fans that are left here certainly not happy. I'm sure the same for the ones that are making their way home and the ones that have watched from home as well. It has been a tough day at the office for these Rangers players, for Michael Beale and for the Rangers fans, and you just wonder what follows next. The full-time score, Rangers 1, Aberdeen 3.
Wow, that sounded lively at Ibrox. Rangers fans, how do you feel? Mark is on the line, but quickly, Stephen, just beat him to it, getting through. Stephen and Blantyre, sum up how you feel as a Rangers fan tonight.
Well, wait, I'm broken. It's a defeat that should not have happened.
Where did it go wrong today, Stephen?
The lineup. You've got 3 CDMs in the one team at home.
Well, whether it is team set up or not, I mean, that's going to be part of it, Gordon. It feels like everything's about to be brought out in the scattergun.
Yeah, everything will be stripped back. Of course it will be, from selections to tactics to individuals to James Tavernier's captaincy. Every single thing will be scrutinised tonight. You hear the Rangers fans venting their anger at the players. The players know it's not good enough, it's not acceptable. The manager knows, the board knows, everyone concerned at Rangers Football Club, that's not acceptable to them. But where do you go from here? Is it a case of replacing the manager, or is it a case of just sticking with what you've got just now?
Stephen, does the manager survive this?
Personally, I don't think he does. This guy was given the directive to scout this team. It's absolutely embarrassing. We were played off the park at Ibrox.
Embarrassing, says Stephen and Blantyre. What about Mark and Giffnock? Does the manager survive this, Mark?
Hi guys, I spoke to yourself, Roger and Kenny last Monday when I said that Michael Beale had lost the support, and you all kind of agreed but said there might be one defeat away. I've left the game today and he's completely the full support he's got to go today. There's now a dereliction of duty for the Rangers board. Must relieve him. We're going to leave any personal attacks out of this, but they must relieve him of his duties today. He's been in charge 11 months. The club have gone backwards from top to bottom. The signings this summer, including Butland and Sima, are not good enough. None of them are good enough. So the signings have been shocking. His tactics, he doesn't have tactics. He's a tactically inept manager. As much as I don't like Celtic, by the way, congratulations to Aberdeen. They deserved their victory today. As much as I don't like Celtic, as a Rangers fan, they went and they flew out to Spain or Portugal, wherever Brendan Rodgers was, and they paid what they needed to get him in, and he's a professional, top-class manager. The Rangers board have to stop doing this on the cheap. They need to relieve him today of his duties, and they need to spend what they need to spend and get the right manager in. Somebody that's won trophies before, somebody that can come in and re-energise the club, because they've got a tactically inept manager. The players are not good enough. He's lost the full support now. So, and we saw this coming. We've been saying for about 2 weeks this is coming. So the board now have to also take responsibility for the 3 points today, because the support have been telling you on these shows, on podcasts, the guy is not good enough for Rangers. So they need to act today.
How angry did today's performance make you, Mark?
I expected it. They're not good enough. John Lindstrom, Bernard Barisic, these guys are past it. They're not. The players are not good enough. They don't even know what they're doing, though. The tactics, the signings have been shocking. So look, let's stop going round in circles. The manager's got to be removed today. Unless he walks, he's got to go now. There isn't a defence to remaining in your job. The league title now appears to have gone in October. In fact, it's October tomorrow. So they have to remove him now. The support to a man want him gone. So when that happens, when you lose your clients to 100%, this is a 50-50 split, he's got to go tonight.
Well, as there must be a succession strategy, so there must be an exit strategy. Tonight might be too soon. Tonight, James Bisgrove and the Ibrox board must decide. Point number one, are they at all interested in retaining Michael Beale and giving him another chance? Or if not, then where do they go? How long do they take? And also remember that all the bad signings that he has brought in, and there are many of them, the next manager is stuck with them as well. So I think tonight is about the strategy. Does he go now, after Limassol, after St Mirren? The international break gives you that time to draw breath. It may be a repeat of history. As Giovanni Van Bronckhorst went, so might Michael Beale.
Emotions are running high, there's no doubt about that. You can tell that on the phones. In a word, does Michael Beale manage another game for Rangers for you?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
I think he'll get Limassol and St Mirren.
What's the point in that then? Because what if he wins them both?
Well, then you're back to square one.
So you don't think he'll get the sack for this?
No, I think he will in the fullness of time, but I don't think that they'll just do it tonight.
Right, okay. What about Lee and Knightswood? Lee, with this being a family show, I'm risking a lot here, but what words would you use to sum up Rangers at the moment?
Absolute dross, mate. He needs to leave by tomorrow, mate. The board need to make a decision and get him out of the club, mate. I mean, I left at half time today, mate, and so did many Rangers supporters, mate. Many Rangers supporters, not just me. People might say, oh, you're leaving, no supporting your team. But it's not just about today, mate. It's been through the whole season, through pre-season. There's never been a style of play there. The signings that have come in are absolute dross. Even today, mate, I mean, you can see how the formation he's playing. Everybody's so narrow. He's relying on the fullbacks like Tavernier, mate. Tavernier is past it, mate. I'm not blaming the result on Tavernier. I'm not blaming it on him. But we've seen the best of Tavernier. The fact that he's relying on Tavernier as your right winger is an absolute disgrace. The fact that he doesn't have the guts to even change it when things are going wrong, and we're bringing on players like Scott Wright, who we were trying to get rid of in the summer, is an absolute disgrace. He has to go. The board need to make a decision now, because the board are taking the supporters for mugs, absolute mugs. I mean, everybody in Ibrox is all the same. They all want him gone. They want him gone. He's not here. I hope he's got Steven Gerrard's number so he can phone him and see if he can put the cones out in Saudi Arabia, because he's not a football manager.
I don't think Lee likes Michael Beale.
No. I think the tone of the first three calls tells you that he's got no chance. For me, it's how long do they leave him? Take it to the international break. That's the end of it, and then you put your succession strategy into place. But I think tonight will be the end for Michael Beale, because there can be no way back from what's taking place today. It's just a matter of how you go about it.
I think Michael Beale's fell into the category of what I call a shadow manager gone. And the reason I'm saying that is he went on the back of everything in Steven Gerrard and he took most of the praise, right? Everybody spoke about the coaching, what he did behind the scenes, organisation. It was all about Michael Beale. Then when you're given that number one spot, when you become the manager, you're getting put into those shoes. It's completely different. You have to make big decisions. I look at Michael Beale and I've not seen one evidence on the pitch that this guy is a fantastic coach, because I don't know what they're doing. They look unorganised, their signings are poor. Rangers fans have had enough tactically, and I'm surprised with this because I've heard so much about his reputation. Like his signings, he's offered nothing this year.
Did you have high hopes for this season? Is that actually the bit that hurts? Is that the bit that stings? You thought this was going to be good and it's been far from it?
Absolutely frustration, mate. For pre-season, I was frustrated with a lot of Rangers fans, but it was pre-season, so you give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But this man is not a manager, mate. He's brought in a lot of players. He's sold us a dream. He's told us this is going to happen, this is going to happen. It's all right sounding good in the press, mate, and talking good. Listen, the evidence is there. I might not have football badges, I might not be a manager, but I'll tell you one thing, I know what I'm seeing, and so do the rest of the Rangers fans. We're no mugs, and the board must think we're mugs if we're going to persist with this guy, because it can't go on anymore. The signings he's brought in are absolute dross, and the most frustrating thing about him is he consistently just plays that formation. I don't even know what the formation is, so you might say to me, what is the formation he's playing? I couldn't tell you, but when I'm at Ibrox today, you've got two full-backs trying to push up and you've got everybody in the middle. For me, that is the perfect thing for a team that's going to try and frustrate you, stuff you if they're all in the one position, if they're all like in the same area. I mean, you need to stretch the game, you need to have a bit of imagination. It's absolute dross, mate, I'm telling you. I'm actually so angry, and I'm more angry, and so are a lot of Rangers supporters. We deserve more than this. It's an absolute disgrace, and I think the Rangers. I said it the other day on your phone, mate. I think Rangers are the board. I think the fans need to get right onto this board, because I think they've been cheating us for a few years now, mate. We've been in this league, back in the division, the top division, for about 8 or 9 years now. We've won 2 trophies in 12 years. It's not acceptable anymore. It's not acceptable. The board better act by tomorrow. We've got an international break coming up, so we need time for somebody else to work on that. I don't know who the right guy is, but it's certainly not him. So we need to make a move now. No 3 weeks of time, 4 weeks time. Now.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't argue with the
fans.
He's
not happy.
No manager exists in defiance of the fans. That's why Lee Johnson got the bullet at Hibs, and why Michael Beale's number is up at Ibrox, because you cannot exist in defiance of the fans. There are 50,000 season ticket holders there, and I don't think we could find anyone in Glasgow or the west of Scotland or in the entire country who would back Michael Beale to stay tonight.
What do you think out there? Emotions are running high by the sounds of it on the phones. Keep them coming. We'll take more of your calls, Nick. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Gordon Duncan, Mark Wilson digesting a dramatic afternoon in Scottish football. Just when we thought the drama at Fir Park couldn't be topped, Hugh Keevins, Aberdeen go and win 3-1 at Ibrox, and these phone lines are red hot.
This day we talked about for a long time, because at 1-0 Celtic you thought, well, they have played very badly but they'll get out of jail. Motherwell will equalise. There's no time at all left, you think, and then a man who has spent the whole afternoon doing not very much scores the winning goal, Matt O'Reilly, and then fate kicks in. Celtic do get out of jail. Rangers are now firmly behind bars, and the manager is not wanted anymore by the supporters. It's one twist and turn of fate after another this afternoon.
Let's bring in George, who's a Rangers fan. Sum up your feelings tonight, George.
Oh, pure frustration to what I've just watched. That's not a Rangers team. Like, that's gone back 10 years. We are just not even there. We're a laughing stock now. It's unbelievable. You couldn't make a football player out of Dessers, Cifuentes and Lundstrom put together. You could have them there for 2 seasons and they still wouldn't do nothing. Please, bring back Morelos.
He's living up in Brazil. I wonder if he's listening. Hi, Alfredo, if you are. The thing about that today, Gordon, is there can be in here, in this part of the world, there can be a tendency to overreact. But that was a really, really bad performance. As George says, that was, by even the most optimistic, blind faith Rangers fan out there, that was woeful, wasn't it?
I think every Rangers fan has now got to this stage. There's no plan. There's no going forward. They don't see the patterns. They don't see the players. They don't see. I think Rangers fans have been patient letting these guys settle in. And I keep saying it's very easy just to throw everything at the new signings. The new signings have been dreadful. Let's not kid on. They've not hit the ground running. They've been dreadful. But you've got to look at players that have been there and know the club inside out. I think Lundstrom runs about and he's a bit of a, he's a hit and a miss for me. You look at Tavernier, he'll be the whipping boy again because he's a captain. But overall as a team, there's no structure to it. Absolutely none. Now, all the focus will be on Dessers, and you can add Lammers into that. Tell me, Mark keeps on about him. Tell me what he's producing. You've got guys there that have scored in the last couple of years, probably 5 goals between them. You're there to score goals for Rangers as a centre forward, as forward players. They don't look a threat. Dessers has had 3 goals, 1 a penalty and 2 is sat off him. Didn't even know where they were. He offers nothing. I would cut him some slack if I looked at him and I thought, do you know what? His link up play is brilliant. He works hard for a team. He does nothing for me. But it's down to Michael Beale. It's his recruitment. I thought the summer was massive for him. He lost a lot of talented players, experienced players, knew what playing with Rangers was all about for them. And he's brought in these fresh guys with these new ideas, and he's went back the way because all of a sudden Matondo come back into the scene. We thought we'd never see him. Scott Wright's come back into the scene. It seems
sent
like
off today, by the way, which is getting lost in all the.
It's grasping at straws. There's no structure to it, and the problem that Michael Beale's got tonight is the Rangers fans can see right through it now, so you can't listen to him.
Anyway, the manager survives this, George.
I say we give him to the international break, but we start looking now, and we need a big name, not just someone off the job centre list. We need a good name.
Good names.
And honestly, Aberdeen would have got a better game against Stirling University today.
Isn't it the height of irony that Michael Beale suffers tonight as the result of an Aberdeen visit to Ibrox? A year ago, he was the one who visited Ibrox on the day that Aberdeen played Rangers, and Giovanni Van Bronckhorst was at his lowest ebb. And I thought then, and said it then on this programme, that it was unprofessional and insensitive of Michael Beale to put further pressure on a man who was already under pressure. Well, tonight history has repeated itself, and if Rangers want history to repeat itself all the way, then they will wait until after Limassol and St Mirren, the international break, and there will be a statement released that Michael Beale has gone.
Rangers fans not happy, and that is an understatement. Thank you, George. What about Josh?
Hello, Gordon, Hugh, the Dazzler. I don't know who else is on.
That doesn't really matter, to be honest. You're on now. Carry on, take it away.
Right, so, like Gordon, you know me. I think I'm a fairly level-headed fan, but I think Mr. Beale, his time is finished. I think he needs to go. That today is unforgivable. I mean, Gordon Dale actually, for the first time in his life, hit the nail on the head 2 minutes ago. it was absolutely grasping at straws. We've got Scott Wright, who's coming in, who 2 months ago was going to some team in Turkey. We're Matondo, who, albeit injured, yes, but who last season was absolutely nowhere. Wasn't even in the team. He signed all these players. Dalziel, I don't know. I mean, he is brutal to watch. I've gave him a lot of rope, and he is terrible. He's not played there's so many players that have come in and have just been, have looked like they're going to be great players, but have been terrible. Cifuentes is one. Butler's probably been the only one that has been really a top player since he's come in. I can't believe that I'm agreeing wholeheartedly with Gordon Dalziel. I do feel that Michael Beale, I really like Michael Beale as a guy. I think, he's a good man, but I just feel that we need to be ruthless here. He needs to go. Ruth's injured again the other night. Why did we not seek to offload him in the summer? Be ruthless and get rid of him. I just feel that his time is up. Get him out, Sean. It's him or me. Get him out.
What the pony, Josh? What the pony here? You're giving me a bit of stick, and I've done nothing wrong this afternoon.
But none of you three got that last reference, which I like. What is it? You've never seen the video? Get him out, Sharon. It's him or me. No. I'll show you the next break. It's
well done, Josh.
Anyway,
I agree with you.
Yeah, you were getting it tough there, Gordon, but there was a compliment in there somewhere. Josh feels you've captured the feelings of the Rangers fans tonight.
Yeah, look, I think we'll get many a call now this week, and all about the one subject, and it will be all pointed to Michael Beale. As far as the Rangers fans are concerned, I'd like somebody to come on defend him, right? Because maybe someone's out there sitting thinking, no, I still want him as a manager. But as far as the Rangers fans are concerned, they've seen enough, Gordon. They've been patient. They've sat there. They've tried to give the new signings time. They've tried to give the team time to blend. They've tried to look at this new formation. They've tried to look at this new style of football they've been promised for 11 months, inventing the wheel that's never happened. So I just think that Michael Beale has got to sit down now and think, do I go forward? Can I go forward? Does the board trust him to go forward? Because it has not worked. And the problem I've got with him is he's not an experienced football manager that's been through this. So Michael Beale, as much as I've been a manager at a lower level, I know when you come under pressure how difficult a job it is. It's a lonely night for him. It'll be a very difficult weekend for Michael Beale, and I do feel some sympathy for him. But when you're a manager of Rangers Football Club, you've got to produce the goods, and if you don't, you know what's coming.
Sorry, don't mind me. I was just trying to find the Get Him Out Sharon video. We'll get back to that in a minute. Do you think that will happen, Josh? Right, there's one thing, your wish list. If I was to ask you to sort of predict the future, if you like, does Michael Beale manage Rangers again?
Look, I don't know. I'm not in the board. I'm not James Bisgrove, right? But for me, I think it has to go. It absolutely has to go. It's been. I've given him a lot of rope, and for a lot of fans, it's been done for a while. But for me, it's I've wanted to give him a bit of time, and give him more time. But I think today's been the last straw. I mean, does this guy know Scottish football? He was an assistant manager in Scottish football for a number of years. Does he not realise that Aberdeen play 4 games a season? Every other team plays 38, but Aberdeen play 4, and they play them against us. What did he actually expect going into that game today? To be beat 3-1 off of Aberdeen, and it's not a great Aberdeen team. Let's not pretend it is. It's not a great Aberdeen team. They're not a great team, and I cannot countenance Michael Beale being the manager going forward. I wish him all the best in his career and his life and all that, but he's not a Rangers manager. It's very sad to say, but there are certain criteria you need to meet to be a Rangers manager. You need to be a winner. You need to achieve things. What are we doing here? What are we doing? I think we need to get I mean, there are a few names in the talking, but I think we need to be serious, and we need to be looking at a serious Rangers manager immediately.
Genuinely think that the volume of calls has like jammed the phone lines. Like, seriously,
yeah,
I'm not kidding on. Like, I'm not saying that for drama. I think you might have sort of blown it up. The screen's struggling.
It just shows you that the Rangers fans are certainly not happy.
I don't think many are phoning up in support of Michael Beale, and that's why, in all seriousness, that's why I think a decision will be made before Monday. I don't think Michael Beale will limp on just because of the toxic nature inside the ground after the game, and what we're hearing on the phones. And listen, there'll be thousands of fans trying to get through just now to vent their anger in similar fashion. So how can you limp on when that is the atmosphere with your support? It becomes impossible. It becomes an impossible environment to work in.
Now you have Rangers headed for a Europa League tie, albeit against weak opposition in Cyprus. But if he were to go tonight, tomorrow, who is taking the team to Cyprus to add to this chaotic picture? And that's why I think there might be a few days taken to. I think I accept he can't go on. The fans don't want him. He has nowhere to go. But I think Rangers have to be careful how they.
Do you know what you might find? Do you know what you might find, Hugh? I go back to the inexperience of being a manager. He's not been a manager a long time. He has never experienced anything like he'll be experienced right now.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if Michael Beale's got the character for that. I don't really know the guy at all. But he might just sit down tonight and decide, I can't get through that. I've not got the strength to go through that. I've not got the character to go through that, because that will need a big character over the next couple of days, because he knows he's coming in for incredible criticism, people wanting him out, and for you to stick that job out, you have got to have broad shoulders, let me tell you, because it does affect you. And I just wonder how Michael Beale will feel.
Get him out, Sharon.
I like that.
Thank you. Have you honestly never seen that
no,
video?
But I'm desperate to see it.
That is right up your street. Honestly, you will love it.
I'm
show you
loving Josh.
Let's bring in David and Paisley. David, sum up your feelings tonight.
I think I would get barred after the radio if I was to sum up my feelings on air. First of all, I want to say maybe I'm a little bit old-fashioned, but I just want to pick up on what Hugh says. What is the sense, Hugh, of the man, or Rangers allowing the man to carry on to Wet Thursday and then next Sunday? We're in a position now where technically the league is probably out with for reach, but we really cannot afford to have any more damage done to the team. So regardless of who would take over in the interim period, that's the board's job to find somebody to do that. But what we can't do, we cannot allow Michael Beale to carry on any longer. And if Rangers board has got any credibility, they would make a statement within the next hour, one way or the other, whether Michael Beale stands down of his own accord or the board make the call. And can I come back with a second point, if that's all right?
Well, this is what
I
Rangers
think, to be
did
fair,
with Giovanni.
just sorry, Hugh, to paraphrase what David was saying.
Get him out, Sean. Get him out. Get him out. It's either him or me.
That was what Josh, the previous caller, was alluding to. It's just to let it be known that football can be a little bit light-hearted. It's not meant to be any malice towards Michael Beale, but for anyone who was wondering, that's what Josh was getting at.
It's a truly chaotic picture. If Rangers do come out within the hour and say you're gone, then the club is thrown into turmoil. It's already in turmoil, of course, but there has to be a way of handling your business if you're a club like Rangers. And I don't think it will happen tonight. I think there will be discussions taking place between Michael Beale and the gentlemen who employ him. I don't think it will just be as cutthroat as that. Of course, Michael Beale could always go in and resign, but there's an ego in there. And I don't think Michael Beale's ego would allow him to come out and say, the job's too big for me, I'm not doing it properly, I thank you for employing me, but I'm going.
See, to be fair, right, I mean, David calls it old-fashioned, Hugh calls it ego-driven. football clubs are extremely quick to bin off managers, willy-nilly. So I'm not saying Michael Beale doesn't deserve it, Mark, but going in and sort of falling on your sword, there's a reason. Managers have got every right to just let the club make that decision.
Of course they have. It's very unusual nowadays, I think, for managers to do that, and it's very difficult because you are admitting defeat, and I don't think any professional, any manager, any coach wants to do that. They always think that they can get a better tune out of their players given time. That is always the answer. You've got to be like at that mind frame when you go into the job of manager or head coach. Otherwise you wouldn't be in it. You've got to believe that you can make a difference even when things are going bad. I'm pretty certain Michael Beale will sit tonight, and he'll be sitting just now and second guessing himself, but he'll think he can make it better. But the problem is the majority of Rangers fans don't, and the board react off what fans say, not just knee jerk, but there's been a build up to this. That's the thing. It's not just a freak defeat at home to Aberdeen with a really poor performance. This has been coming, and it was well underway before last week's win against Motherwell. That was bad enough. To follow up this week with a defeat, I just wonder how long he can limp on for. And I think the Rangers fans tonight, the calls we've taken so far have voiced that, and they'll continue to come throughout the week if Michael Beale's still employed by Rangers.
Definitely no coming back from this, David. Is this just the emotion talking, or any chance?
Absolutely not. I've been saying, to be honest with you, I sat at the pre-season games, and anybody that knows me will tell you this because I've put it on social media, etc. I sat at the Hamburg game and I was very, very worried, and I said, I don't see a shape that we're playing out there, and that continued on into the league games. But just touching back on what Hugh says about a club like Rangers or Celtic, whatever, I'll agree to disagree with Hugh on it, because big clubs in Spain and Italy and all that can sack their managers immediately after the game, so why can't Rangers and Celtic? But to move on to my second point, about 18 months ago, Gordon Duncan might remember this, and I think Marvin Bartley was on the panel, and I turned around and said that John Lundstrom, in my opinion, out with the lower divisions, is one of the worst football players that I've ever seen in a Rangers jersey, and yet he continues to demand a starting shirt. We brought in the boy Chifientis, who's getting shunted out to the right-hand side to accommodate players like Jack and Lundstrom. With Jack and Lundstrom, and Gordon might remember, I said at the time, Jack and Lundstrom, we will never succeed and be the top team in this country with guys like that, because they play the ball sideways and don't run off the ball. And that's the big problem in the Rangers team. Not the defence, not the attack. The big problem is the midfield, because we don't dominate games, therefore you don't dominate teams in front of you.
Do you cut any slack, given that Lundstrom or certain guys would have been playing because there are midfield injuries, or it certainly didn't help?
I'll go back again, slightly old-fashioned. I played against a boy when I was a young boy called Derek Ferguson, and I sat in the stands at Ibrox and watched Derek Ferguson as a 16-year-old playing under Jock Wallace and Ian Durant coming in. Play the young boys in the team, they've got no fear, they've got nothing to lose. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And the fact that the manager at this point in time continues to pick people like Jack and Lundstrom says everything about the man. The man needs removed from office, and he needs removed now.
No way back, is there? I mean, the risk of sounding like a broken record, it's about how Rangers do it, not will Rangers do it. How do they do it, and what is the time frame? But from listening to the callers, there is no way back. It would be astonishing if he was still in charge when Rangers play in the semi-final.
See, on that subject, Hugh, the thing that worries me is not one fan has phoned in and defended him.
There might be some out there.
Yeah,
if there
I'd
are,
like to hear from.
You can get your thoughts in now. Would be a good time to do so.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson, Gordon Duncan are here. Darren in Cumbernauld. It is predictable. It can be easy on nights like this to hear loads of calls saying that Michael Beale, must go. Do you feel the same, or have you got a defence?
No, I've not got any defence. I don't see, just taking up on Gordon's point when he said that anybody defend Michael Beale. How can you defend the signings that he's made? They're dreadful. How can you defend the performances that they put out? There's no shape to the team. There's nothing. It's, as the last caller said, it's back the way, sideways. It's just constantly, and it's actually boring to watch. And I think it's time for Michael Beale to go. And I'm sorry to say that, because he is a nice guy and he comes across as a nice guy, but he's just not a football manager. He's a good coach, but not a manager.
Did you think this would be a good season, Darren? Was it the hope that kills you sort of thing, or how did you feel about it going into this campaign?
I had the good hopes at the start, but as the last caller said, the pre-season games were it was a bit like, hopefully it'll come good, because like we were saying that your players need time to gel, and of course they do. But even when Danilo was fit and he was playing, he was paid £5 million for him and didn't play him. I think he just didn't have a clue, I don't think, and be a manager. A coach, yes, but a manager, definitely not.
Because the manager will always carry the can, that's absolutely fine. Sure. But it feels like it is all coming together in a bad way for Michael Beale. See, even if, I don't know, 2 or 3 of the outfield new signings, you'd say, oh, do you know, actually he looks pretty good, and see with a bit more time I can definitely see a player in there, and if 1 or 2 players come back from injury, that will help. But at the moment, the list of Dessers and Lammers and Sima is just not exciting the Rangers fans. In fact, it's the opposite.
Today those 3 players were put up for inspection because the need was great. Roof had gone, Danilo had gone, and they were put up for inspection and all failed, and failed miserably. Michael Beale's beginning of the end came on the day he lost to Celtic at Ibrox. The reaction of the crowd at the full-time whistle that day told you all you needed to know. He had seriously let down the fans. They would use the word betrayed the fans. He had a Celtic team there for the taking, and it was Celtic who won. And I think that was the beginning of the end. He's been slowly walking towards what happened today since then, and the nature of the game today offers him no chance of remaining as Rangers manager. It's just how and when it happens.
It is 10-6. Michael Beale has still not appeared in the media room at Ibrox, so he's about to, though, I believe, but just I don't know if he's been in with a fairly lengthy post-mortem, so he is speaking to broadcasters. He is about to go into the media room. I think he's just not done it yet. Right, let's bring in Lewis as well on the line. Lewis, how do you feel?
Absolutely horrendous, if I'm perfectly honest. I've sat there and watched that for the start of the season, and I still can't work out, 1, what system we play, 2, what game Michael Beale watches, because it can't be the same as us and 50 other thousand fans, because I still cannot see a player in Dessers. I can't see a player in Lammers. And you had your first caller on who said that Jack Butland was the worst signing. He's the only one I can actually say that probably is a decent signing that he's made.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon, Lewis has just put it much better than me. That's sort of what I was getting at in the terms of you just don't see any signs. That would be it. See if there was a few things, or sorry to keep doing it, right, but it's because it's been relevant history for us. When Ange Postecoglou started, and I know this is not Michael Beale's start to his job, right, I get that, the distinction, but I'm talking about saying, oh well, results aren't there, but I can see the style, just wait a bit. And you didn't need to wait too long because you could see the style. What is the style? That's what Rangers fans are asking.
I think it's very hard to put up an argument against Lewis, his opinion. The only thing I would say, Gordon, is prior to the day, that's it, Hugh, just get that.
That's brain news.
That's probably
Michael on the phone.
Prior to the game, the day, right, and it's incredible. The last 4 games, they've not conceded a goal. They've won 4 of them. They've scored 8, and yet the football and everything's still not been good enough. And this result, I think the Rangers fans have been waiting for this result just to vent their anger, because it's dross. I said a couple of weeks ago, I think it was St Johnstone game, worst game I've ever watched in my life. I've seen nothing about it. I go back to pre-season. I remember coming in here, I went along to Ibrox to watch a new signings pre-season. I thought, don't see exactly what they're trying to do, no idea. But pre-season, like most of the Rangers supporters, the bubble has burst now. Let's be honest.
Oh, was it ever inflated?
He could have got away. If he beats Aberdeen today, he limps on again in the Europa League. He limps on against St Mirren. He'll get the international break, of course. So things could change quickly in football. We all know that. But I think now the pressure has really come under him.
When he beat Real Betis, there was a slight pause in the anger and frustration. But then they followed it up with a desperate display in the league, and fans were booing the team off the park and so on and so forth. But the manner of what happened today, for me, it's when does the meeting take place? His contract will have to be decided. There are legal matters there, financial matters that have to be attended to. That's why you can't just do it in a knee-jerk way. I would really, really love to be in the Ibrox press room to see or hear what he says if he comes in the door.
Thanks again to Lewis. I know I'm flying through these, but want to give as many fans the chance to have their say tonight as possible. William's in Drumchapel. Were you at the game, William?
Hi, hello guys. Good afternoon. Yeah, I was at the game tonight. It's absolutely shocking. Listen, I don't see a formation in that team at all. There's players there that are sat running about that field looking like headless chickens, lads. Honestly, please tell me what formation we're trying to play right now, because I couldn't tell you.
On that, William, I just want to get your experience because you were there and we weren't. What was the reaction like at full time? Because it didn't look like there was anybody left, and yet when we spoke to a reporter, it sounded extremely angry. We spoke about this after the Celtic game. In many ways, it sounded as bad, if not worse, today.
I'll put it this way: see, as soon as Aberdeen scored the second goal, the stadium cleared. We're talking half the stadium there after the second goal. Literally, it's disgusting, man. You see the way Bale's got his team playing there now? Absolutely a disgrace. In the 92nd minute, I'd walked up to the dugout and I'd said to Michael Beale, I said, you've had £25 million this summer to buy players, and you went out and bought a bunch of people that couldn't kick a ball, honestly.
Money has been wasted. For me, Dessers, Lammers, Sima, wasted money, and whoever comes in will need to deal with these players. There's a cup final to be played before, or a semi-final rather, to be played before, and the final, if they get there, to be played before the transfer window can open. So Rangers are stuck with these players.
Very quickly, because we're almost out of time, what did Michael Beale say when you went up and gave him a piece of your mind?
Didn't say nothing. He just looked at me with absolute disgrace. I think he knows his job's done now, boys.
We'll find out. Thank you, William. On the line from Drumchapel, motivational speaker. But Michael Beale wasn't interested. He is on his way to the press room now. I think
the fact that he's on his way to the press room means that he's still employed, unless he's gone in there to announce his resignation.
I've always thought that side of it can be a bit overstated. It's 5 to 6. You know what I mean? Like,
it was never going to be an Aberdeen situation with Jim Goodwin that Michael Beale was going to, not turn up. Listen, this will be the hardest press conference he's ever had to do in his life, and his answers, a lot of people hanging on what he's going to say here. I don't think he'll be at Rangers come Monday.
Do you?
After hearing the phone in, no, I think his days are numbered.
Well, it's not the fans that make the decision, of course, Hugh, but they do have a big say. How does this week look?
The game of football never ceases to amaze. Rangers are now in crisis. Celtic, having played very poorly, are now 7 points ahead of Rangers in the league. The Rangers board have a very hectic 24 hours ahead.
Whatever happens, it promises to be a blockbuster week on Clyde One Super Scoreboard, so do not miss it. We are back Monday night from 6 o'clock. Want to hear all your thoughts? Get it in your diary, set your alarms. It will be the place to be. 6 o'clock, we will speak to you then, and in the meantime, stay right there. GBX is up next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with lookers.co.uk. With over 140 dealerships across the UK, it's the place to find new and used cars and vans.